evening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It's going great. I feel a bit more freedom with the new setup, with the new microphone.
Yeah, we got a lot of space here.
Do you know what I've realized just now, this moment?
Yeah.
I feel like every single time we start these podcasts, we're like, well, our new setup, guys, a new thing, guys.
No one cares.
No one gives a shit.
Imagine coming around to your friend's house and they're like, before we get started, let me show you my interior decorating.
Guys,
I've changed everything around. You know that plant that was by the window? You're never going to guess. You're never going to guess.
It's now, and the guy's just like,
totally different room. Right.
Yeah, bro, I'm doing okay. Thank you very much for asking. How's things going on with life? How's things going on with gaming with you?
Yeah, with gaming, haven't played anything since we beat Ghost of Tsushima. I'm doing a chilled time now, and then Saturday and Sunday I'm gonna put in a couple of longer streams, and we're gonna do Control.
Oh, you finally settled on Control?
Yeah. So twitch.tv/Conversations on Saturday and Sunday, probably like somewhere in the midday, like 12 to 1, 2 p.m. something in there. Not really sure yet. Mm-hmm. We're gonna hit Control. Probably do like multiple longer streams. Normally I go about 3 hours. I think I can probably do 4 or 5 because it's the middle of the day and I haven't got any plans. So
right, and
my chick's working. So I mean, I'm gonna do Control. We're doing Control. There
we go. Good stuff. You got Control to look forward to, guys, on the PS5 with all the ray tracing.
That's
and all
right.
That cool stuff. It's gonna be quite cool.
I know as well that you haven't played anything at all, because there's no way in hell I would be set here with a space Nazi who romances a space racist in Mass Effect.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I just saw a very attractive, physically and personality-wise person in Mass Effect that I was willing to romance. I don't know what you're talking about. Before we get right into that, though, before we talk about what I've been playing, let's get our super bros thanked and appreciated, because they are really, really keeping the lights and mics on over here. Just want to say, if you... Oh, sorry, you want to take it off because it's usually your thing, or shall I take it from you?
Basically, this show and our interior decorating could not happen anywhere close to this level of quality, consistency, and those are the only two cuss sounds. There's no way you spent Patreon money on that, I swear to God.
No, this is mine, but I was going to say super bros. Because
why don't you explain the joke just a little bit more?
So this is Superman,
right?
Superman, and the first half of the super bro name is
super as well. Right.
Super bro. They're super,
and because Superman is known and well known to be like by far the worst hero ever created.
This is quite a heavy book. I could hit you with it. But yes,
I've killed people with less for less. Our super bros over on patreon.com/conversations. I can't do the slash.
Oh, we've restricted your movement. Yes.
Boys, tune in next week for more interior decorating decisions.
Yes.
Honestly, you guys make it happen. You guys make... So like the chairs, we've been able to make better content that goes longer because we're actually comfortable for once.
Yes.
And on the incredible cameras that you see using these awesome microphones, it's all thanks to you. So who do we have to thank?
We have, just that moment, I pressed the button and it moved the list out of the way. Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Carol Torivia, a.k.a. Catsper the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Dan, The Man, Jeremy Renner, That's Right, an Official Avenger, Marty Scorsese's Master H. Barts 12, The Midget Aloy from Smallville Sabine, the former freeloader Christian, Master Chief himself, Albiscori, Super Sus Ben Fryer, who is a defective clone of Eddie. There's many things missing from the clone. Apparently he doesn't like Doom as well. Got the guys on.
Well, so, I'm sorry to hear.
Abort that.
Just flush it. And
just get another one somewhere.
Where's my coat hanger?
The Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Raj Vanderlin. He's got a plan, guys. You just got to follow him on one last job. The Filthy FIFA Fanatic, Joe McCormack, My Juicy Left Nut, and Kevin, the #1 simp of Xbox.
I feel like the audio guys. As soon as you did it, I was like, that's a long pause. Oh, this is definitely to mess with those guys. This is definitely to fuck with them.
There's someone right now, there's like, he's rushing to the hospital with urgent organs to be delivered to hospital.
Mate, an ambulance emergency stops in the middle of
and he's like, hold on a second, let me just check my phone. What's going on?
Did it die? Quick, get the defibrillator!
They go, oh, come on. Where's Shazam when you need him to charge my phone with his lightning? Exactly.
Best DC hero.
Thank you, bros, so much for... I swear to God. Thank you so much, Super Bros, for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at Conversations.
That's right.
Quick thing I want to mention just before we get into the Mass Effect thing we were talking about. A little bit of housekeeping. One, our clips channel that we made, the best of conversations, I'll link it in the description, has been converted to a clips channel. Also, our live stream archive channel.
Yeah, like the YouTube, Twitch VOD. Exactly. So the video on demand, if you don't go to Twitch, because actually the video on demand on Twitch sucks.
Yes.
But YouTube's way better to view long form pre-recorded content. So it's all uploaded there. It's going to be.
And it all gets thrown out after 30 days on Twitch as well. So this way it will stay there forever. Cool. It's uploaded there. You guys can go subscribe. If you're in our Discord server, it comes up in the announcement section. It's all great like that. And the other thing.
Yes.
Next week, next True Gamer podcast.
Anime Club is back.
Please tell me no. Please no. Next week, 1 week from now on the True Gamer podcast, we will be doing our E3 predictions episode. Yeah. And we want you guys to write in with your predictions as well. I want everybody to come up with 2 predictions. And you're going to drop them like normal in the Patreon, sorry, in the room on Discord, or you can drop it on Patreon if you're a patron as well. We will be having a special guest. We will be having none other than the long-eared fox himself.
Oh, cheeky bit of Gurg action.
Who will be joining us, and we'll make it a nice big old competition to see who is the truest of true gamers.
Okay.
And there'll be a community award and there'll be a host award as well. It'll be great like that. I think
that's an interesting mix because you got Gurg known famous for his bad takes.
Yes.
Me who's inverted, and you who is Eddie on the internet.
Wow,
so like
I didn't expect.
There's no strong like obvious lead.
It's the best of the worst, just the worst people. Right?
It's like Suicide Squad, but we actually have a plot.
Yes. Hey, what about Slipknot? He was the best character in that whole movie.
Slipknot's arc was actually the best comedic thing in that entire movie. And I don't think it was intended to be.
No, it wasn't. Anyway, thank you guys for that, and we'll see you guys next week for that. Keep an eye out. It's going to be really good fun.
Yes, indeed.
I think it will be.
Indeed.
So yeah, Mass Effect.
Yes, Mass Effect, a game that's very near and dear to my heart. A game that I have mentioned. You probably won't have picked it up. I've made a bunch of Mass Effect comments throughout our relationship, like being friends. I've mentioned something ages ago being like reminding me of N7, and I know that it was something that went over your head because you just didn't know Mass Effect. But I've been talking about Mass Effect for ages, and finally got you to play it. It's one of the 3 best sci-fi franchises in the world. Those 3 being the Halo original trilogy, Mass Effect original trilogy, and the first 2 Dead Spaces. Those are the 3 best. There is no other sci-fi games out there.
Those are the only ones you should ever play.
They are the cream of the crop, for sure. You start playing Mass Effect 1.
Yes.
Which is in many ways massively improved from the original. Like the UI is functional.
Yeah.
Actually works.
That's what we want from games.
You even, I don't know if you did it on purpose, but you maybe accidentally picked the class I recommended for you, Vanguard, which is very powerful. I think it's very good in 1 and it's overpowered in 2, or it might be the other way around. So it's a very good class to pick. And from there, you completely ignored all of my advice and input.
As a true gamer, I'm a lone wolf. I lead the pack. Okay, actually, that doesn't make any sense. A lone wolf and lead the pack.
Yeah.
Listen, contradictions don't matter, okay?
This is a guy on the internet with an opinion, thank you.
Exactly. I make my own decisions, and they are always the correct decision.
Of course, yeah.
No, so I'm playing Mass Effect for the first time ever.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been recommending it. You recommended it to me, but to be honest, it's you, so who gives a crap,
How
really?
can you take that opinion seriously?
Exactly. But leading up to it, I started to get a little bit more excited, only because it was, like you said, it's a newish, it's a remake of a game, but it's a new game
that makes it new. Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, it'd be cool to play a game that everybody regards really highly.
Yeah.
And the first day I played about 2.5 hours of it on stream, and the stuff that happened in that game, the depth of some of the characters,
yeah,
some of the way that the lines were delivered. I was blown away.
Really
I was
good.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was half expecting to get into this and go, oh shit, did I bite off too much than I can chew? And I've like signed myself up for 3 games that I probably don't want to finish.
Right.
But I've completely done a 180 on that.
Yeah.
Yesterday I streamed again. I streamed about 4 hours of it.
Yeah.
And it got even better.
You're only scratching the surface, by the way. You're not.
I bet I can tell, because the way that they've gone in depth with all of the characters and the species of characters, which I don't even know if they're going to play a part of it necessarily. Sometimes they may come back in other like side missions, but I 100% guarantee that not every single one of the aliens are going to all go to their ancestral planets and then learn about all of their breedings, and then somehow that turns into a mission. I think they've just done such good writing that they want to flesh out every single race and every single character to make them fully believable and lovable.
It also comes up in a way that's actually relevant.
Right.
Like, it doesn't feel like... let me rephrase that. The writing in the game is so good, not just in terms of the dialogue.
Right.
But the way in which quests come up to you. Like, you come through... You came through, like, a hallway, and right at the end, someone was there, you clicked on it, and said, oh, Shepard, I want to speak to you for a job.
Yeah.
And then depending on how you want to play it, you're like, well, that's illegal, or, well, this sounds like a thing I can get done, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just you walk somewhere and then there's a cutscene and you have a mission, or you walk somewhere and someone's like, hey, you know, you have to, like, speak to people, and I don't know, things feel like they progress pretty naturally.
It feels that way as well to me.
Yeah.
I'm astounded by the universe they're building, and this is just the first one. So like the first one, you don't expect to be as amazing as I'm finding it right now, or as fully fledged or as in depth as it is, because you never know if this is gonna be a thing.
Right.
This could completely miss. Why invest all of that time in there? And Rob said it well, where I said, oh my god, I really love this, and he goes, now you understand why people are so upset with how far BioWare have fallen.
Yeah.
Because this is what they made to begin with.
This isn't even the best one, by the way.
And they've fallen so far.
Once you finish 2, I think you're going to be angry.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be angry having finished Mass Effect 2, which I think is
I'll just never finish it. I'll just get halfway and I'll be like, no,
the disc in the freezer somewhere.
That's it.
Like, when you see what can be made, and I think Mass Effect 2 came out in like 2011 or something like that. It's a while ago, you know? And to see that's what these guys used to make. And what is the last title they made? How are these things performing? Well, where is that writing? Where are these in-depth characters? Where is this in-depth world? Where are these great mechanics? Like, why could we do that 10 or 15 years ago and we can't do it now?
It's a good question, because I was, again, another thing that I was accepting, totally judging a book by its cover, and not even by its cover, by the date that the cover was printed.
Right.
I was like, this is going to be an older game. It's going to be a bit dated. It's probably not going to be that well. But to be honest, good writing is timeless. You can just write whenever you...
Absolutely.
You can just write good whenever. And this is a total case of that. It feels completely out of place. All the characters are so well written. The story is so good. Oh god, it has its jank because of the age, as I said.
Yeah.
Like, why is the run button X? No fucking clue why that is. Every time I'm trying to hit the R3 stick or L3, whichever one it is, and I'm crouching, and I'm like, fuck, no, go back, X. And it feels alien to me.
ME1 came out right around, I want to say, COD 4, which is that time in gaming where... it's like that old Top Gear episode where they're talking about those old cars from like 1890, where there wasn't an established way to do controls.
Right.
So everybody was trying to come up with it. Yeah. And maybe 2 years after that game comes out, Call of Duty became the thing. And, well, this is the way you do it. Sprint goes on here, crouch goes here, these are the triggers. But it wasn't there just yet. And this is the thing, though. This is the remaster. They've changed some stuff. The UI actually works. It didn't in 1. It was very bad. It was bad on PC. It was awful on console. It was awful.
I can kind of see where it is. They were the UI right now isn't the best.
No, it's still not.
But you can tell that it was far worse before. This is the best we can do, guys. This is the best we can do
to streamline it and stuff. Like Mass Effect 1 is one of those games that by the time you finished it, you'll be hot shit on it. You'll be really good with it. It'll make sense. But once you get to ME2, you'll be like, oh, I'm so glad they changed those things. And Mass Effect 2, by the way, I'd say the writing is much better than 1, which isn't to say 1 isn't amazing. It's to say Mass Effect is a masterpiece. Mass Effect 2 is a masterpiece. I'm really keen for you to get going on it. But I will honestly say, it's not a joke. Ashley is by far the most boring companion character.
I have no idea what you're talking about. She seems so just... Me and her, we the same mind. That's what
right.
we are.
Right. Not trusting anybody that looks different.
She's a proper racist. I'm like, this is wow. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
One of the things that's cool about Mass Effect is normally in sci-fi and stuff, humans, we're painted as like the saviors. Like if you think about Star Trek, Captain's always human. They always make the best decisions. The right-hand man mostly is human.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Spock's whole journey is about becoming more human.
Yep.
And in this, we're like the toddlers. We're like the new kid on the block. We don't really know what's going on. Everybody's just trying to get to know us. And like...
That is an interesting thing, actually, because I did think that as well. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. They've thrown twice things back to front. The people that are ruling the space travel aren't humans.
Yeah.
It's aliens, and we're the newcomers in here. And they did the same thing with Liara's race of people and how they do with breeding.
Yeah.
They're like... If an Asari breeds with another Asari, then they don't gain anything. Like there's no variation in genetics, and nothing gets better. So you're seen as a pureblood, which is a negative. And I was like, wow, that's like normally the opposite. In like, it's like that's so cool.
Yeah. Just for anybody that hasn't played Mass Effect, this isn't a huge spoiler. This is more about the background of an entire race in the game. The Asari are a race, a species that can breed with any other species.
Yes.
The children always come out looking like Asari, but that's not the point. So it's sort of like, if you go back to like the 50s, like if you were a white person with a black person, you made a mixed race kid, that was considered at the time quite negative.
Yeah.
The Asari completely the other way. If you're an Asari and an Asari, what was the point, man?
What was
a waste.
the point in you doing anything? There was no genetic diversity there. There was no furthering the species or anything like that.
It's very interesting.
And I'm like, whoa, this is so... Woo.
There's a lot of cool stuff that comes up with the Asari. You're going to meet some interesting characters, and it turns out there's even more to do with Asari mating, which sounds very weird, but it's very interesting.
Okay.
I promise you it's interesting.
It's definitely, there's a reason why it comes up in all kinds of stories and whatnot, because alien civilizations and the things that we find so simple, and with humans, what's the most
Listen, if I find out, if I see an alien that's hot, I'm going to stick my dick in it. Yeah. I'm going to stick my dick in it.
Rex, come over here. Come over here, Rex. I got something for you. Oh, yeah, and how his whole species can't populate. Well, they can, but then they're very, very rare if they survive. Yeah. It's so
the
so
genophage. Has it been named? Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, it's
cool
really,
stuff.
really awesome. I can't wait to play more. And... I do kind of feel embarrassed that it took me this long to discover it.
There's honestly, there's no way you would have ever have played Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
There's no way, and you wouldn't have got this far. There's no way. You would have hated it.
It's just been too terrible.
It looks too janky. It plays too janky. You being the way you are would never have played it. It took a remaster for that to even be on the cards.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it happened, because I'm also hoping that once you finish these series of games, that will give you more of a kick up the arse to play Halos 1, 2, 3, because you have the Master Chief Collection.
Yes, Dan
gave it to you, I guess us, but you. That is also an incredible, very different, but an incredible sci-fi franchise, and one of the best franchises out there. I would honestly put, like, in my nostalgia rankings, obviously I've got games like The Last of Us 1 and 2 up there, God of War, you can't change those. But man, Mass Effect 1 through 3 has to be in there. Halo 1 through 3 has to be in there. It's got to be in the top 10. It has to be. There's nowhere else for it to go. There's nowhere else. And there's not many other games that can contend. For storytelling, for world building, like, man, you got to experience it. And I'm really excited that you're liking it.
This is gonna be cool. It puts more faith in as well for me to play Halo, because that's another recommendation.
Yeah.
And like, okay, he was right about the last one. Let's see.
Also made by Bungie, who made Destiny.
True, and I do love me some Bungie. I do love me some Bungie. Even if they do remove great features that I love from Destiny 2. But anyway, as we continue to go, bros,
Yes.
This is the True Gamer podcast.
It is.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Saturday at YouTube.
Yeah, it's not
this channel.
That's right. Conversations on YouTube. You just search Conversations on YouTube.
That's where you go. Or True Game Podcast, you get that as well. And also on podcast services around the world, you can type in True Gamer Podcast to find us there. If you guys like what we do here, if you love the stuff we do, you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, rate us 5 stars on places like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and stuff like that. It helps us out, helps rise in the ranks. And one day maybe we'll be number 1 or number 2 along with Colin Moriarty with the best gaming podcast out there. Because I look at the charts and I'm like, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
On the thing
yet.
We'll get
Listen,
there.
boys, you have an incentive. I said when we're YouTube millionaires, I'm going to get the Lambo and I'm going to wrap it in a hentai Monica Dambo Ahago wrap. I'll do it and I'll daily drive it. That'll be my daily. I'll go to Tesco's to pick up baby food and shit. I'll do it. But you have to get us there.
I like as well there's a baby in this. You're subjecting the baby to this as well.
Mate, she's going to be wearing, or it's going to be wearing hentai freaking like Ahago Monica Dambo pajamas and stuff.
Oh no, don't. Oh god. Okay.
And our merch, of course.
I think that might be a reason not to get us there. Don't vote us 5 stars or anything. Don't do any of that stuff because then this will happen.
I'm gonna have to start befriending hentai artists on
just
Twitter.
like, hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I have this really specific kink. Could you?
Very specific kink. If you guys like what we do and you want to take your support even further, head over to patreon.com/conversations where you guys can kick us a few bucks. It helps get everything happen with the show, helps keep us going, and you get things like exclusive access to our Conversations podcast for just $1 a month, or you can get exclusive early access to this podcast like over 24 hours earlier. You can see all of that stuff at the $5 level, and you get to be called out as a true gamer. Right?
There's even more perks. So we do have merch. It is good. It's so good I will unironically wear it sometimes. You get 15% off at $5 and above. You get 15% off, and it is good stuff. And we do sometimes do like limited edition stuff. And the only way to get we've got a True Gamer one where you could get your gamer tag on the back. The only way to get that was to be
a patron.
A Patreon,
yeah.
That's the word I was
That's
looking
right. So we do have to say a quick thank you to our true gamers,
That's right.
our sugar daddy people who support us at the $5 tier, who make everything else possible, who made this podcast themselves right here possible. But you don't like them very much, do you?
Well, I mean, it's the way they go about getting what they want.
It's true,
right? They didn't just come up to us and they say like, "Hey, do you want to go to the content prom? Will you make a podcast for us?" You know, they start with the creepy letters in the locker, right? Prom. And then a picture of your dog, right?
Why are you guys
prom
so
or
sick?
Fluffy gets it, that kind of thing, right?
Why are you guys so sick in the head? What's wrong with you?
Sick. And then love letters like written in blood, but it's not even theirs. You know? Creepy.
Yeah, this is really scary. Yeah, this is really
creepy.
scary.
It's creepy stuff. I should be a horror fiction writer.
You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
Anyway, eventually we caved.
We did cave, and we made them this podcast. And those people are Jeremy Horde, Sab2557, Real Kermit Cinema, Record Friction, Adam Sunling, Isak Manny, Dan Dano, Cats Bacoral, Doc Nutella, Super Whale Ben, Albie Scory, Kevin Crow, Joe McCormack, Diogo, Kevin Crow again. Hey man.
Hey man.
I checked him by the way, and it's not a double payment, so it's okay.
Okay,
but it comes up there. Hey man, where the fuck is Mario Judah though? Juicy Left Nut 69, Benedict Clobber, Zack Snyder's son, aka Batfan, Fishy, The Jackal, Vander, Cobra SS, Jack Nicholas, and Max H. Thank you, bros, so much for keeping the lights and Max on the gaming going here. That list is so long, and I'm so fucking happy.
It is
so
very
appreciative of all of you guys. We love you. Thank you.
We
so
do
much.
really well when it comes to stuff the size of the channel and stuff. I'm really, really genuinely happy. One last thing on
Don't know what it is about us, but
yeah, I mean, you guys will have trash taste, but it's. I mean, I benefit from it, so I'm happy with it.
Hey.
I will say one final thing on the show stuff. So obviously, thank you to the sugar daddies. Thank you, daddy, for the $5 tier and above, and Twitch subs and all that stuff. But not everybody can donate. Not everybody has to spend money to get merch. Some people have issues with Patreon and all that stuff. Just liking the videos on YouTube and like leaving an actual comment in the comment section, like something relevant to something that we said.
Whatever we say, yeah.
it actually really helps the videos. It helps YouTube realize that we're saying stuff that is engaging with you guys. And so if you can't donate, which we totally appreciate, and look, sometimes $1 a month is too much for some people, or it's just a platform. Like, comments and liking the video really genuinely help, and we appreciate every single one of them. We really do.
We really do. Speaking of comments, Joe McCormack wrote in the last video when we were talking about the reviewers don't finish games.
Right.
And he was saying, you guys absolutely smashed it. Couldn't agree more with you both. As well as that, Peanut Butter writes in, he says, this is terrible with longer games. Valhalla is great if you only play the Norway bit. Red Dead Redemption is okay if you only play Chapter 1. Can't even imagine completely judging an entire game without playing it. And Tayab Zaman writes in and he goes, wholeheartedly agree. I can't believe someone who gets paid for playing games with no fear of shame comes out and fully admits that they don't finish games before giving an opinion. That is like broadcasting to the front of thousands of people. It's ridiculous that reviewers actually think this is completely okay. What a world.
Yeah, I totally agree. Firstly, obviously, though, Joe, simp.
He is a simp.
That blew me away, actually, that the guy did come out and just say, yeah, of course we don't.
More interesting that happened today, actually. Yesterday, I should say.
Yeah.
Days Gone came out for PC.
Yeah.
And a bunch more reviews came out of it. And one reviewer got on Sam Witwer's nerves because... apparently he reviewed the whole game and didn't mention for once, not even once in the entire review, the hordes of zombies.
Hold on a minute. That's the point of the game. As far as I'm aware, I haven't played it, but I've seen a little bit. You've spoken about it. As far as I'm aware, one of the key features of the game is that there are hordes of zombies, that they move at a pretty reasonable pace. Like, you really want to be on a bike or a car or something. That's one of the fear factors of the game, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
And there's a whole thing where it's like when you take down a horde of zombies, you get this feeling of euphoria because you're running for your life, and then you get the satisfaction that you've just taken down a whole thing. And there's trophies tied to clearing all the zombies in certain areas.
Right.
It's a key part of the game, and he didn't mention it once. And Sam Witwer went on his case, was like, there's one review. He didn't mention him by name, but then he found what Sam Witwer was coming. He's like, the one guy didn't mention this, and then he came at him. He openly admitted that reviewers don't play 90% of the so they only play about 90% of the game when the game comes out. And I'm like, another reviewer just openly admitting that they don't play all of the game in order to review it.
No one's saying you have to platinum the game, but experience. Imagine talking about Jedi Fallen Order but not mentioning the lightsabers or the Force.
Right. So do you know what? It's a good old Metroidvania game, good characters in it and stuff like that. It's a shame the combat's pretty terrible. Wish you could have lightsabers or the Force. Like, what?
Wait, hold on a minute. Just 1 second.
Anyway, that came up and I thought I'd mention that, and that was damn right appalling. But it was really fun to see Sam Witwer go tear into a critic, just like we have many times.
Yeah.
And these critics wonder why no one wants to listen to them.
I think one of the things that's getting really interesting is that a lot of voice actors are now being taken really seriously online by their audience, because guys like Troy Baker, Sam Witwer, Laura Bailey, Ashley Johnson, who voice so many characters that you love and give such incredible performances, are getting to the point where they are every bit as serious or taken as seriously by their fans as Hollywood on-screen actors.
Yeah.
And so someone comes after Sam Witwer, he's just a voice actor. No.
Right.
Nah. Oh, no.
This guy played Doomsday in Smallville. You ain't even ready for it.
Right.
You ain't even ready for it.
His crowning achievement.
I mean, he does this thing, I don't know, someone called Darth Maul.
Never heard of
him. But this crowning achievement, Doomsday. Anyway, guys, today's topics will include, is Starfield coming to PS5? No, it's not. It's coming to PS5. That's actually the story. How Summer Game Fest is confirmed and PlayStation is making an appearance there.
Wait. When you say PlayStation making an appearance, exactly what? No, we'll get to
that. Exactly. Ubisoft's terrible company practices and how it's not changing at all.
Wait, Ubisoft missed again? What a surprise.
Surprise. And how GTA 5 might be beaten by one other game for remasters.
I'm just looking to see if Ubisoft has stock. They do have stock. How to short Ubisoft stock.
Okay, so we're going to kick it off with Starfield.
Yeah.
So, over the last week, since our last podcast, it was confirmed that Starfield would only be coming out for PC and Xbox.
Right.
The reason why I put so much emphasis on confirmed is because it was confirmed by an industry insider called Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, we know Jeff Grubb.
Which isn't a confirmation.
Not even close to one yet.
I was going to say, a confirmation is Microsoft coming out and saying, our game is only coming out for PC and Xbox.
Yeah, this is like if you say, an unnamed source confirmed that. That's not confirmed.
Yes, exactly. An unnamed source has told us that this, da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And the really stupid thing is that while I do think that this game isn't going to come out for PS5.
I agree.
I just really hate that all of the media outlets are like, it's confirmed.
Right.
That Starfield is not coming out. Confirmed. And then you go into the article and it says, while Microsoft haven't confirmed it themselves.
Right.
And it's like...
Or what about the lead dev or the guys running the project saying we're only coming to PC?
Right.
No one official, no one who has any say in it has said these things. No one.
And do you want to know what makes it even worse? Is that afterwards Jeff Grubb teased on Twitter that he's got a piece coming out which would give the reasoning as to why,
right,
and also how that would be applicable to Elder Scrolls Online as well, how that might not come to PS5.
Yeah.
And I read it, and it's basically... I have a feeling based on how things should probably go, how Microsoft might tackle it. So there's no evidence. You've just plucked something out of the air.
On the plus side, that means we can start officially confirming stuff.
We can. Officially confirmed, guys. We can just say whatever we want and it's fine.
It's confirmed.
Jeff Grubb did it.
We said it. We're confirmed.
Anyway, I just wanted to air my grievance about that part, and now we can talk about the actual story. So, it does seem like that Starfield is going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
It'll probably come out day one on Game Pass as well, because that's the thing that Microsoft's doing, where they're bringing out all the exclusive games.
Terrible for the developers, but
the developers, and it's not going to make a lot of money, but it's going to raise up Game Pass subscriptions at least, and that's kind of what the objective is with
Might
this.
raise people on Game Pass.
True.
You know, there's that. But I know we're talking about Starfield, but the number of people on Game Pass is not the same as Game Pass subscriptions.
That's it.
And that's the reason I mention that is that's probably one of the reasons they're making Starfield a day one Game Pass game.
Yeah.
Right, to try and get more people onto Game Pass.
Yes.
But that doesn't guarantee more people paying for Game Pass or more people paying, was it $14.99?
Yeah, there's probably... they'll probably do a promotion where they're like, hey, another 3 months free like they normally do. Right. But... in regards to this not coming to PlayStation, how do you feel about this? How much of a blow do you think this is to Sony? How much of a win do you think this is for Microsoft? And what do you think about Starfield, this brand new IP in general, with all of this happening now?
Honestly, I feel like Microsoft needs the win more than we need the game.
Yes, very, very much so, yeah.
You know, and I hope it's a really good game. I really hope it's incredible, and it does only go Microsoft side of things, you know, the Xbox and PC. I want it to be great, because great games is great for gamers.
Yep.
Great games are great for gamers. Gaming is good. Good games are good. We got enough. We've got enough.
That's part of my thinking as well. Now, I do think this is a very... we had our theories about how this would go and how other Bethesda games would go, how they should even go going forward.
Yeah.
So we said that one option they could do is that they bring out every game of Bethesda or whatever game comes out for Xbox day one on Game Pass. So anyone who is a Game Pass subscriber, like they want more subscribers, will get that benefit straight away.
Yeah.
And then you can sell some games like Bethesda games for $70 on PlayStation and make the money from both pools, basically.
Yeah.
And then you'll get funding from PlayStation users, and you might have the allure. It's like, hey, why are you paying $70? Why don't you come over here and get Game Pass? And then
largest net backlog of games and all that stuff.
Why don't you do this? And that would be another allure. It turns out they're not going to go that way, at least from this from this rumor right here. And that's one way to do it. But in my opinion, far too much rests on the game actually being good this way.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But the thing is, the game has to be not bad, at least.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's good enough for it to be not bad if they go this direction.
Right.
Because if they bring out a game... So, PlayStation has great games.
Yes.
PlayStation have great games on the horizon.
At the minute,
Exactly. It's the premier place at the moment. If this game,
Yeah.
the first step out of the door from the Bethesda acquisition that they've made, isn't a great 10 out of 10 almost, or even a 9 out of 10 game, and it's just a meh 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 usual Game Pass game, then it's not going to have any impact whatsoever, and all you've done is hit a huge chunk of cost in your development and everything that you've done right there.
Microsoft throwing money down the drain? What?
Exactly.
What?
And at least with the other way around, where it was the $70 for people to be paying on PlayStation, at least then you'd make money that way, and you'd have the incentive to, you spent $70 on a game that was kind of meh okay, whereas if you was on Game Pass, you'd get it included in your subscription. So that's the reason why I think that this game has to be good. Whereas if it was on PlayStation, it didn't have to be good.
Right, I see what you're saying.
If it was good, it would have been even better.
I see what you're saying.
Which is my feelings on this topic right here.
This is the very first step on an interesting journey, I think, because I'm totally okay with new IPs being Xbox exclusive. But if they try and pull this with something like Elder Scrolls, I think the reaction is going to be very different. I would like for this to be a game that no one really knows much about or cares much about or whatever, and it comes out and it's incredible. People are like, man, maybe I should be on Xbox, or at least have one. Maybe I should look into Game Pass. But if you do that with something like Elder Scrolls, where there's 100 million PlayStation users, probably the majority of them only have a PlayStation, and how many of them play loved Skyrim and stuff, a good 10 20 million, like a bunch of people, that is the wrong way to go. You cannot at the current market share make anywhere near the money as just an Xbox, even Xbox and PC exclusive. The money isn't there. You're cutting out a good, including PC, probably a third to half the market, because most people have PlayStations. Most gamers have PlayStations,
All gamers, because PC gamers aren't really gamers.
Or people, really.
Exactly. And that brings me on to another thing, actually. I believe that makes this whole acquisition, if depending on how they handle it, whether they do take Elder Scrolls or a title like that that's previously been on PlayStation,
right?
If they take it away and make it exclusive, that makes the whole acquisition, everything they've been doing anti-consumer.
Yeah.
Because they have a product, and just specifically to spite one group of gamers, they take it away from them. Yeah. And all these people that say that exclusive games are anti-consumer because it locks people out, if people fund their own game, that's their own thing. It's like me buying a house and then saying, why can't everyone live in it? That's something. But if I buy a house that's full of people and then take them and then kick them out, that's bad. Exactly. And that's essentially what's going on here. If they do take games like that, they might get a bit of backlash, but they also might not. For one, Xbox, they don't have a lot of games, so they're starved at the moment, and the gamers aren't really going to care how they look so long as they get a game at the end of it.
True.
And it's possible that PlayStation gamers will turn the other cheek after a little bit of moaning, because they have good games, and they have good games on the horizon. So maybe they shouldn't care about Elder Scrolls coming out in the future, despite I know it being a great game that has a lot of fans and people are looking forward to the next iteration of it. But that could dissipate over a bit of time, and Microsoft might just go, maybe we take a bit of heat and then we just make this big exclusive ours.
That's definitely maybe.
It's very anti-consumer, but that's a way
Microsoft
they could
being
go.
Anti-consumer? No, they're always pro-consumer for gamers by gamers.
Exactly.
For gaming peoples. No. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I honestly think that the difference between making Starfield and making an Elder Scrolls game exclusive is that one is making Starfield Xbox exclusive is giving something to the Xbox gamers. Mm-hmm. Making Elder Scrolls Xbox exclusive is taking something away from the PlayStation guys. And I think the most likely scenario is that they ensure that that flood of people leaving Xbox and coming to Sony, which we know that's what's happening. Confirmed.
Each time a new game gets announced.
Right.
Watch when the next God of War trailer pops.
The fact that the PS4 is nearly outselling the combined Series X and Series S is telling.
It's proof of it, yeah.
Right. That all they will do is solidify that they don't really care. They never really cared. And all the people that left and have all stuff that's coming for them anyway are going to be happy that they left. And anybody that was thinking maybe I would get an Xbox is looking at them going, do I really want a place that's going to like take stuff away, you know, because that's never happened the other way around. I'm not saying this is what Microsoft would do, but Sony has never had a company make a title that previously was for everyone and only make it right. They have made something new just for Sony guys.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it would work that well, and gamers hold grudges.
They do. We are a passionate group of people, and we will hold grudges. Similar to the thing that's going to happen later on. We're going to talk about the Ubisoft stuff. That's definitely an example of it. We haven't seen much of this game. Anything of this game, I should say.
Yeah, we don't know much.
There are some leaked screenshots, but we don't even know if that's from Starfield. It could be.
Right.
It might not be. It could just be any sci-fi project some kid's working on in his computer.
Right.
We don't know. But people are but people are excited because it is Bethesda, which previously did make great games.
10 years ago they used to make real bangers.
Exactly. And it's a brand new IP from the ground up.
What engine's it running on? Do we know?
I don't actually know what engine's running on, but I do believe there is some reason to be excited for it. I'm not trying to discount anyone's hype for this. However, the more recent stuff that Bethesda's done with Fallout 76, with all the crap that's gone on with that, and how they've just dropped off of the map.
Yes,
I feel like that's something we should be wary of. And there's something else as well you should be worried about as well. So the rumor is more stuff. The rumor is this game is going to be coming out in 2022, not 2021, possibly early 2022. And the rumor is that they've secured a celebrity for voice acting.
Oh God, this isn't what I was saying about Tom Cruise.
Yes. Apparently Tom Cruise has been linked to be working with Starfield. It's a rumor at this point, take it with a pinch of salt, no idea if it's true. But as soon as I saw it, I immediately got Cyberpunk 2077 PTSD flashbacks. I was like, no, everything's gonna go wrong.
So, Rob, friend of the show, and I have spoken a lot about this because some of you might know I've been playing a Cyberpunk, the tabletop game, you know, where you roll the dice and stuff, and Rob's been DMing it or GMing it. Incredible, far better than the game, far better. Insane. We both are of the opinion that Keanu accidentally ruined the entire character of Johnny Silverhand, not because of Keanu, but because they now did not have to write incredible characters. They didn't have to make Johnny Silverhand likable or hateable or whatever because he's Johnny Silverhand. They had Keanu, so they only had to get him to be meh. And I feel like if a lot of Johnny's lines were delivered by some guy, he's a meh character. And as a knock on to that, V doesn't have to be anywhere near as engaging as, say, like a Geralt or a Shepard.
Right.
Because you got Keanu every other 5 minutes.
And that's why the character feels kind of bland in comparison to previous games like Geralt, like you're saying.
Exactly. And we're both of the opinion that, and this isn't Keanu's fault.
Right.
This is the fact that they had Keanu on board, that they were then able to do that. They
relaxed on the other points.
Right. And that's probably going to be true of Tom Cruise.
That is really shit. So that, again, this is just a rumor of this game, but that was the feeling that I got, and what you're saying really does hit true.
Also, I don't know, but the thing with most voice actors is they're incredibly talented in general with their voice, not just as, like, for example, Ellie in The Last of Us is voiced by Ashley Johnson, who's an adult woman. She does a very good child Ellie voice, which, by the way, neither of those voices are her natural voice or accent. She has a slightly different accent. These guys, the tool of their trade is their voice.
Yeah.
And it's knowing accents and age and sound and volume and accents. Oh, I said accents twice. All sorts of stuff. There are some very incredible voice actors out there. And I don't know, but I get the impression that Tom Cruise is really good acting as Tom Cruise, and maybe not so good where his whole body is his tool, the tool of his trade, and maybe not so much with his voice alone. I think he'll end up sounding like Tom Cruise playing a character.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well.
Whereas Abby sounds like Abby, not Laura Bailey,
Yeah.
right? Sam Witwer sounds like Darth Maul when he's playing Darth Maul, and then he sounds like whoever the main guy in Days Gone is. And, these are different sounding
Deacon
people.
St. John.
Right, these are different sounding people. Whoops. Troy Baker, who's voiced a bunch of different times. Joel does not sound like anything like the other roles because they're different characters.
Yeah.
And Troy Baker is a voice actor. He acts by voice. And what's important is getting... Like, trying to act alone is difficult. Trying to act when you're doing a totally different accent with different speech patterns and stuff, it's a different style of things. And I don't know if Tom Cruise can do it. I think we're going to end up just hearing Tom Cruise the whole time.
Yeah. Which that was actually what happened with Cyberpunk, but we liked Keanu Reeves so much that we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get that same sort of feeling when it comes to this brand new game set in space, whether it's going to be with Tom Cruise.
That's actually a really good point, because I think Tom Cruise and Keanu are very similar, actually, when it comes to how we view them as the audience, which is that they typically play Tom Cruise as Keanu Reeves as, right?
Yes,
Keanu Reeves
yes.
as Neo, Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Keanu Reeves as that one guy in 47 Ronin, which we won't talk about, right? Like, I feel they're both very talented actors. I think Keanu, by the way, is a very talented actor who's underrated because everybody thinks that he just plays the same. He doesn't. He's really talented, genuinely talented. But I'm invested in watching him do the performance, not invested in the performance on its own. And there are a bunch of actors that have like much more range, who I think are as good, but their ability is to go across a lot of different spectrums. Like Samuel L. Jackson plays Samuel L. Jackson as.
Yes.
But I love Mace Windu and I love Nick Fury.
Yeah.
But I always see Samuel L. Jackson in there.
That's
and
right.
I love Samuel L. Jackson playing the role of. But there are other actors, like voice actors, or there's someone really famous whose name I forget.
You don't need to. You've given a lot of analogies already. A lot of examples, I should say. But for Starfield, it did give me that immediate thought about Cyberpunk. And I was like, go. I hope this isn't going to go the same way.
Do you think this is a trend? Do you think that Starfield is going to be the start of a trend of Microsoft bringing out actual first-party exclusive games? And if so, can we judge the next game based on how Starfield performs?
It's a good question, actually. Because your question, essentially, if they do good on this, does that mean that they've steered the ship in the right direction?
Because we saw that report, right, about The Last of Us 2. So we know Microsoft knows. We know they know.
Very good question there.
For sure, they know that Sony has a recipe and it's not hard to unpick it, right? It's literally laid out for you. Get great actors, a good story, tie it all together, good combat, done.
I think it could be something,
Confirmed.
I don't know if it will be the determining factor.
Right.
But I think if we, in 20 years' time, look back into the history books, we might go, it all started when they made this
With
one
Starfield,
game.
yeah.
But stuff's already in development. So they were like, the next generation of games after Starfield, they were like, that was it. They learned from that recipe and they continue to iterate and build and get better and better. It could be. I am a bit excited for Starfield.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything of it to get properly excited yet.
Yeah, we know about as much as we do for Elden Ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it hits all of my favorite things. Space, sci-fi, just brand new, something completely new story that we've never seen before. It's big. It's probably going to be quite big because it's Bethesda.
Yeah.
I'm interested, bordering on the excitement level, but I need to see more of it. And I happen to have a PC that could probably run whatever comes out.
Or an Xbox One.
Xbox One downstairs as well. I'll probably play it on the PC because I can put a PS5 controller to it, which is
the way it's always intended to be played.
That's the way games were meant to be played. And then I can enjoy it that way. So I'm on the border of excitement right here.
How does the Tom Cruise thing sit with you?
It doesn't sit well, I have to say. I've been burnt so hard by Cyberpunk that I'm now very cautious now. I'm like, did you bring this in because you wanted to or because you needed something?
You need Tom Cruise to save you,
And also, when did Tom Cruise suddenly express interest in getting into video games? I thought it was just Mission Impossible from here on out.
What if there's some Scientology bullshit that in the contract he's allowed to say like a few things that are subliminal messaging?
And I can say once that what happened between me and Katie Holmes wasn't my fault.
Right.
Anyway, that's hopefully we're going to get to see more of that, possibly at E3, something like that.
Before we move on, I'm genuinely curious. What do you need to see? Because you're a day one early adopter of new tech. Like you're always getting the new iOS softwares. You're not one of the beta tests, but you're always testing stuff. You just like new.
I do.
You like new. What would you need to see from Starfield to make it good? Bearing in mind that you've now experienced, only briefly, the premiere sci-fi game.
I was going to say prior to this...
Mass Effect 1 isn't even the best one, by the way.
I was going to say prior to playing Mass Effect, I probably would have been okay with a lot.
Right.
But now seeing how great things can be, it's probably not going to live up to anything I want. But I am usually quite forgiving of stuff.
Yeah.
So
you did give Anthem its way too fair a shake.
And I didn't even have the attachment to BioWare, and I did that.
Right.
I think if they come out, they have to come out strong. I don't want it to be a stupid tease. I don't want it to be barely anything. I want it to be a full extended God of War reveal type thing.
Let's see the intro level.
Show the game. Play the game in front of us. Tell us what it's all about. Don't get too complex with it, but give us what we're doing here. Why we're in this game. What is our position in this space, in this universe? And then really, really grip us by the balls. Just grab us like that and show us what's going on. That's cool. What it needs to be. It needs to be a big hit because it's the first step from Bethesda after this acquisition. If it's not a huge punch, it's nothing.
Do you think that if they show something for this game, sort of in its mid-development phase, which is they say it's coming 2022, let's say at E3 they actually show something, right? And it bombs, do you think it gets pulled? Do you think Microsoft go, Bethesda and what is it? Who's the company that their parent company? But they
ZeniMax.
$7.5 billion. You bombed on it? No. The first one's got to be a banger. Off. Whole team, you're on the next title.
That's the thing. So I think when the deal came out, they were like, we're not really going to interfere with Bethesda's stuff. But if they produce crap, then they might just go, okay, you guys can't be trusted. Out. Right. The whole team's going over here now. Yeah, I could see that happening.
It'll be an interesting thing.
So many interesting things are coming up. It's going to be a conversation, regardless if you're a PlayStation fan or an Xbox fan coming up, and I can't wait for it. Really.
I'll tell you, if I was one of the Microsoft suits, the thing that would make me pull the switch on that is if there was no online response. I wouldn't care for hate. I wouldn't care for love. Because at least people are talking about it and we can fix stuff as long as people are talking about it. But if it comes out and it's like just, oh yeah, they showed some games, this was the highlight and it's nothing to do with thing, I'd be like, yeah, you're scrapped. No one's talking about it. I'd rather it was a hated game. They were like, this looks shit, can you believe that? Fine, we got some attention. You know,
that's all that really matters to them, right? You need that. You need some sort of attention.
Gotta have some attention.
Some of our guys did write into our Discord server, like Vander just did. And he said, Starfield is so weird for me because it's not keeping up with the news. Because I've not been keeping up with the news for it. And I can never remember if it's a game that is actually out or something that's been in development for years. That's the thing. They mentioned the title, the screen that you're seeing behind Sheps right there. Just Starfield. See you later.
They did an Elden Ring.
Exactly. Yeah. They just showed that and they said it's really far out, so don't expect anything. And we haven't seen anything since. And apparently this game's coming out next year.
It reminds me of I feel the same about Starfield as I do No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Which I know sounds weird to a lot of people. Let me justify that. No Man's Sky is a game that I was interested in but had no desire to play. And the fact that I know for a fact it is out, but because of the stuff I search, I've never seen what the game looks like. I've heard, because we're in the space, that it's had major updates and it's now a great game apparently.
Yeah.
But I it went by the wayside to me, and I feel like this could be another No Man's Sky where if it had come out last week, I still wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And like Vander said, like it's hard to know if it came out or is coming out. And do I care? I think I do. I like games, but do I care? I do like games, but I don't know if I care.
I think
I feel the same with Elden Ring as well. Like, I don't care.
We don't know enough, and the way that they're revealing
I'm going to go back to playing
Godfall,
so okay? Jesus.
Exactly, Jesus.
Like a real game.
I think they're trying to do. They did this with Fallout 4, where they made the game in quiet development, didn't mention anything to anyone. Then one day they're like, "It's out in 3 months, guys. See you later."
Yeah,
and then
it's ready.
And then that was it. And people were like, "Oh, that's amazing how you did that." And I think they got such a good response from that that they're trying to do the same thing again, which is cool. But then we have these conversations where we're like,
right. But if they did that, if at E3 they come out and say, hypothetically, let's say next year's E3, they come out and we haven't heard anything from it, we forget that it exists. And then at E3 they're like, boom, show a thing. They haven't even announced that it's Starfield. They show something, looks amazing, like that God of War intro thing. And then they're like, yeah, it's ready.
Yeah.
It releases in 3 months. It's going gold tomorrow or something. Like it's going to go gold. It's ready.
Yeah.
It's ready. I would feel way better about that than because the last sort of 2 years have shown us that games get put back and put back and put back, and then a pandemic happens and they get put back even further, and then they do come out, and nah, man,
no. Wolver Ainsley, aka Juice, wrote in as well, and he said, "I don't think that Starfield will be just for PC and Xbox. My general guess is that when it comes to Bethesda and Xbox exclusivity, is that the games they announced before the Microsoft deal will be all platforms." That's what some people are thinking, but now that they own them, it's kind of up to them. It would be a bit of a shitty thing if they were like, because I guarantee this was a thing, by the way, if they do this.
Yeah.
There was a whole team, hundreds of thousands of hours of man hours, maybe thousands of hours, not hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of man hours that were developing a PlayStation version of this game.
Yep.
And then when the acquisition happened, if they have made the decision to go exclusive, they're going to be like, throw that in the bin. Throw that in the bin, we don't want it. Which is a pretty shitty thing to do. And it'll be interesting if one day it comes out. If it's just like someone would just leak that kind of thing. Anyway, he goes that the games before the Microsoft deal will be all platforms, and games that announced after are more likely to be exclusive. And even if it does launch on PC and Xbox, I'm sure it will arrive on PlayStation at some point, not too long after. You say that, but we haven't got any evidence of Xbox doing that before.
Yeah, I think that last bit I don't agree.
Yeah.
I think if it comes out as an Xbox exclusive, it will probably stay that way.
Yeah. Xbox and PC exclusive.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's really Microsoft.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with, specifically, I should say, new IP that's announced that after the acquisition becomes Xbox exclusive. I don't mind that. That seems like
theirs. They can do whatever they want with it.
It seems like there's a normal business decision.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that will probably, again, rub a lot of people the wrong way. I want them to be good.
Yeah.
I want them to be good because it used to be that it was hard to pick between them.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be that the console war, there was a reason to be on the Xbox side. And not since the 360 has that been true. And I want to get back to that. I want to get back to needing both consoles and like not knowing which console to turn on first.
Yeah.
You know, I would love that. I really think that would be a good thing to happen. So Bethesda used to have the track record. You know, they used to be good at this thing. So I'm hoping
this one isn't a buggy mess. I hope this is
right,
because that could destroy it. That would be the really bad first step that I'm mentioning out of Bethesda's deal.
Here's me painting a picture where this actually goes okay, right?
Okay.
We know that Microsoft has the blueprint. Mm-hmm. We know that they recognize that games like The Last of Us 2, however you feel about it personally, are brilliant. Yeah. Great storytelling, raise the bar, great combat. Like at every turn they make right decisions, generally speaking. And that is the type of game that's really performing, like God of War, for example, and all of that. So we know they know this.
Yeah.
We know that Microsoft believes its own propaganda as well. So it's unlikely that they will implement their recipe, the Sony recipe, on a known Microsoft entity, but they have a new thing that can come out and say, look, Microsoft's Bethesda. makes games like this.
Yeah.
And then they can come and say, okay, we've just had this report. Bethesda, this is the recipe you're going to follow. From now on, the games are to be third person, story driven, character focused, RPG, right? Oh, but we want to copy The Witcher. Frick The Witcher. Copy this.
This is what's working. Right. Do this.
And because owning Bethesda, they're far enough away from it where if it flops, Bethesda just made another crappy game.
Yeah.
And aren't they owned by Xbox? Yeah, I think they are. If it does really well, then it's Xbox's Bethesda.
Yes.
And Xbox can say, no, we make these kind of games. We own Bethesda. Bethesda's been making these games, and now our other studios are going to make similar titles. So I hope, I choose to believe that by getting Bethesda, they can keep it at arm's reach in case it blows up in their face like everything else they've done. But give them the recipe and the directions to follow, and if they do it, they can just start making that part of the brand. It's just part of the brand, like it's part of the Sony brand.
Do you think that people will make that disconnect if it goes wrong? That they will go, well, this was a Bethesda game, right? Because I mean, this was a Bethesda game, and Microsoft just have now currently owned them. They didn't have anything to do with it. They haven't done anything yet in there. Or do you think they'll be like, if it blows up in their face, if this turns out to be terrible, they're like, yeah, this is Microsoft, this is Xbox for you.
I think that because Bethesda has a recent track record of just making crap, that's enough to focus people again on Bethesda. If I'm Microsoft, I print Bethesda big on Starfield.
Yeah.
Right?
Leave the Xbox studios
right.
really tiny down.
Exactly.
Okay, this is what Xbox studios are.
Exactly. And Microsoft are protected. This is the suits will perceive that they have a big protection by the fact that ZeniMax and Bethesda was such a large company that they can say, look, we wanted to own it as part of the market share of entertainment, but we don't have direct control in Bethesda.
Yeah.
Whereas they do have direct control. They can give the recipe, and if it blows up, we're distanced. We just gave them feedback. We gave them a blueprint of what we wanted done, and it's these guys that made it. But they also do own them, and then I bet we'll see next year's E3 or whatever it is when it comes out. When it comes out and it's good, and they did what I said, assuming that's the world we live in. Phil Spencer comes out and they'll say, Microsoft's Bethesda has made. Microsoft's Bethesda brought you. And I think that's the way they'll do it. I choose to believe I want that world, by the way. I want the world where Bethesda gets back to making the incredible games they made. BioWare gets back to making You're going to play Mass Effect 2 and you're going to be salty. You are going to not be able to contain yourself at what they went from with Mass Effect 2 to what you played in Anthem. That huge leap in time and technology and experience, and that huge fall off is going to break your heart. And I'm really sorry to see it happen, but I'm glad to see you play Mass Effect.
Like I said, I'm not completing it. I'm just going to go halfway through Mass Effect 2 and done. That's it. Oh, the rest of the game corrupted. What am I going to do?
I was going to say I don't think that's possible. I'm going to just quickly check what the completion rate is for Mass Effect 2.
People are just like, no, my heart can't take it. It ends up at like 50%. Anyway, that's everything we've got to talk about Starfield
56%.
Right 56?
For Mass Effect 2.
Told you, people are just dead on them. They're like, no, when they finish, no.
For anybody that's wondering, 56% to complete a game is mind-blowingly high.
Yeah.
That's really... and that's a third-party title. That isn't like a PlayStation exclusive. Damn. I wasn't expecting it to be that good.
So that was all about Starfield. Thank you everybody for listening. That was a meaty topic, but it's been up in the gaming sphere, so it's an interesting one. Yeah. And also, it's crucial that we have this conversation now when we have such little information.
Yes,
because then we can see how it ages in the future.
Right.
Because it would be really cool to be like, we come to Starfield and it's exclusive, it's this, it turns out to be amazing, blah, 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 and see how everyone reacted to that.
Yeah.
Or however it turns out, how that reacted, and based on what we said. It'd be really cool to talk about. Anyway, that's happening hopefully early 2022, 2020, late 2022, wherever that comes out, and maybe we get to see it.
Yeah, if there's any interesting news, we'll definitely cover it. But you're definitely right. I think it's really important to get stuff out before we know anything. It's always easy to deconstruct something once it's been made.
Yes.
Like, it's way easier to look at a bad game and see where it went wrong. It's much harder to be in development of the game or making a story and make it go right.
Yeah.
But when you see something bad, you can, that's bad. It's much easier to do it that way.
And also, a bit of optimism in the world. Sometimes we want to be in before and be like, do you know what? I think this could go this way, rather than when it comes out and go, this is how they fucked up. You know, let's vary up a little bit.
And we do surprisingly somehow call a lot of this stuff. And years out as well.
That's right, boys. Tune into the True Game Podcast for those hot and spicy
confirmed
scoops.
predictions.
Our next topic. Summer Game Fest is confirmed to be starting June 10th.
Okay.
2021, which is one day before E3 2021. Yes. And guess what? Jeff Keighley. I'm saying Jeff Grubb.
Definitely not Jeff Grubb, yeah.
Jeff Keighley is going to be starting off with an opening showcase called Kickoff Live. Okay. So, on top of him coming out the day before, he's calling it Kickoff as if like, we are kicking off the whole gaming month, right. Okay, guys? We're doing it right here. Anyway, Jeff Keighley went to Twitter and he told us the news that apparently is starting up. He didn't mention how long it's going for, not like last time, for like 4 months, but he said it's starting that day. And it says it includes such great names as 2K, Epic Games, PlayStation, Ubisoft, Xbox, Warner Bros., all these big names that we know right here. But most notably, PlayStation is going to be there, who is notably absent from E3. This is very interesting news right here. How do you feel about this?
That's the one I'm going to be watching. The question is it PlayStation coming, or is it a game from PlayStation being showcased here? And is this a move to get even more attention from their absence at E3? That's the question. Are they showcasing something, or are they showcasing that they aren't at E3?
So this is actually really interesting, and I do have to give a little hat tip to Jeff Keighley for this, because after the mess of Summer Game Fest that was last year...
That's a good point, yeah. Getting them on board.
People asked the question. They were like, what's it going to be like this year? Is it going to be that these partners have come here and they're going to be doing their show here?
Yeah.
Or is it they've got something to show and that's why you've put their name there? And he said, plainly, he was like, this doesn't restrict them from going somewhere else and doing something else. So don't expect them to be, this is the place that they are. So we shouldn't expect God of War 2, Ragnarok, the Second Coming, whatever it's going to be called, going to be shown off at Summer Game Fest. But it could. That's what we should be taking away from here. I love that he was honest about that. That's the main thing I liked right there.
That's good.
But I thought it was quite interesting how the show's going to be the day before E3.
Yep.
The show's going to include someone who's notably absent, arguably one of the biggest names out there, PlayStation. Yep. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. We will be doing all kinds of reaction streams for like E3 and stuff like that. It was really hard to do it for Summer Game Fest because they would tell you the day before.
Yeah, that was rough.
And it was just... Is there any this week? No.
We don't know.
There's 4 this week.
Right.
We had no idea. Hopefully there'll be a bit more of a schedule and hopefully we can lay that out. But I do like doing those, so you can expect those from the channel and whatnot. I thought that was quite interesting. Are you excited for Summer Game Fest?
Kinda. I'm most excited to see how it changes.
Yes.
Right, to see if Jeff Keighley can move a lot faster than these other companies. Like, Microsoft cannot turn on a dime, but Jeff Keighley is a guy, and so he can turn real quick and adjust where adjustments need to be made. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, one more reason we love Jeff Keighley. We do love Jeff Keighley. He's a guy that's just passionate and in this field. Is he was honest about that. And look, Sony are big enough. They're big enough. They have big enough names that they do their own shows all the time. Yeah, you know, the deep dives, which I know a lot of people go into thinking it's gaming stuff, it's more tech, but that's their own show. They put that on themselves.
Yeah,
and they do a good job of it. If you know what you're getting yourself into, that they can do this themselves. They could do a Sony event. They might well do a Sony event. It's very interesting that they're at Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
So
super interesting.
I get such an itchy nose. Oh my god!
I mean, mine was itchy as well. And I don't know if it was subconsciously I was seeing you, and I was like, "Do you know what? Got a bit of an itchy nose right here." Go on.
The real question is, there's multiple questions about like what are they going to show and why, because depending on what they show, half of their attention from Summer Games Fest might be from the fact that they aren't at E3.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the main draw for me personally.
Exactly.
I'm like, Jeff Keighley's doing his own thing over here because of how the spat they had with E3.
Right.
That's the reason why I'm there.
Exactly. The question in our heads is, so they're not at E3, but they're coming to Summer Games Fest. Well, what are they going to show?
Yeah.
But it does kind of come down to, what do they show? It's got to be, in my opinion, it's got to be good enough for us to tune in. It's got to compete. It's got to compete with the Microsoft E3 event at least, because not turning up to the race, you're conspicuous by your absence. But turning up to a different race and still flubbing, like everybody knowing that had you been at E3 you would have lost, that's a loss.
Yeah.
So it's still got to be a good event.
It's going to be super interesting, and if we do what normal people do and we base it on the evidence that they had before, this should be a bad event, because that's the only thing we have is one event prior.
Yep.
Hopefully they can build upon it and make it better and learn from their mistakes from last time.
The Sony events typically are good.
Yeah.
You know, in fairness, so Microsoft's are good in a vacuum until you compare them with the Sony ones. I don't know if that's because Sony just has better insider stuff and they know what Microsoft's going to do.
I think it's just what they have to show on offer.
Yeah.
While Xbox has a lot of like third-party stuff, and they know how to put on a show. Don't get me wrong. They know how to put on a show. They are flashy as hell.
Yeah.
But then after that moment of hype drops down where you're like, yeah. You're like, okay, so PlayStation have got this, this, and this. Oh my God, I'm so glad I got my PlayStation. The Xbox have... Those were all third-party games. Interesting. So why
that's the thing, innit? Xbox is really good at showing stuff off. The thing is, they're showing stuff off that anyone can play.
Yeah. Or, oh my God, that game title got revealed. I know nothing else about it, and I'm probably not going to see it this year, next year, or the year after. Right. So I'll wait for the next E3 or the E3 after.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the thing is, though, that can't last forever. That's hopefully going to be either this E3 or next E3 where we actually get things for those things.
Change has to come.
It
has to.
No way. All right, so that's Summer Game Fest. Hopefully that'll be really cool. The next thing we're going to be talking about is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
And how it will be dominating all the MPD results from November onwards.
Again?
Because the expanded enhanced edition has been announced, has been revealed. The release date has been revealed, and it's the 11th of November 2021, which will apparently come with loads of new features for the Xbox One and Series Xbox Series S and X, and PlayStation 5, with added bonuses this summer for GTA Online, special benefits for players taking up this edition, the expanded and enhanced edition, will get drops every single month until the game comes out. And apparently there'll be a special thing, I don't know what this is, for the 20th anniversary for Grand Theft Auto 3.
Jesus, I thought you were going to say GTA 5.
For the 20th anniversary of GTA 5. It's coming up on it. I mean we haven't got that long left, right? But it says apparently stuff that may be included in GTA Online. And I was like, I thought maybe it was going to be a remaster's coming.
Right. They're never making another GTA title.
Well, they didn't mention GTA 6 at all. Everyone's waiting
They're not
for that.
They're not
going
to do it because it's too much risk, and people just keep buying GTA 5.
Yeah.
They keep buying it, and somehow brand new.
Yeah.
People keep buying it, and they keep spending money on it. And it makes too much money.
I think they only did this because they were like, well, we're on the top 10, top 5, top 3 even of MPD results for PS4 every single month. And then they look at PS5 and they're like, we're not there.
We're not there, but also...
God damn it, we got to get there. So then they make this.
They make so much money from it, and the amount of money that it takes to run this game and run GTA Online, when you compare it to the top competitors, so like Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty Warzone, so minuscule and low.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this game was made and paid off back in the day, right? So it's all profit
in its first year, immediately
all profit. That they can just be like, cool, we'll do some updates, we'll push some stuff on PS5, because they're literally gonna drown in money if they don't. Like, this is probably to save their lives.
Yes.
Because they will get crushed under the $100 bills in their office, just like,
we need to spend money. They
Right.
turn into Oprah where they're just giving away money. It's just like, take it.
Right.
Take it.
It just makes so much money, and it's so, relatively speaking, so cheap to run and maintain. It prints money, man. What else are you going to do?
So that's
I'll tell you what you do. You don't release GTA 6 because the chances of it being anywhere near as good are so slim. Even if you can do it.
Mate, they took a shot with Red Dead and Red Dead Online, and it didn't do anything near what GTA does, and that's why Red Dead Online's not getting as well supported.
But that's also why they did Red Dead.
That's true.
Because they didn't want to come close to GTA.
Yeah.
Right? So they can test the waters of making games. By the way, that's something that bugs me as well, because Red Dead Redemption 2 has to be considered in any reasonable discussion of greatest game out there, right?
Yeah.
Even I know this.
Yeah.
For like storytelling, mechanics, the size of the game, but it's not oppressive. It's still respectful of your time. There's just so much that you could do.
Yeah.
They can make a masterpiece. They've done it a few times. You know, some GTAs are incredible. Red Dead Redemption 2 is arguably one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
The only real competitor to The Witcher.
Yeah, and God of War.
Like, but it's not GTA. It
It's
doesn't
not
make that
GTA.
GTA money.
Speaking of remasters that just don't want to die,
Yeah.
Saints Row the Third is being remastered for the PlayStation 5
Yeah.
and Xbox Series.
Yeah.
Another game, a game that came out in 2011.
Old.
Remastered for
It's
the PS4,
old.
and now they're remastering it again. This game doesn't have the same sort of like, oh, it's selling so much, it's in the MPD, but it's just as old as GTA. When did GTA came out? 2013,
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
I think it was 2013 or 2012. So it might even be a year older than GTA, and they just won't let the fucking game die.
They won't let it die because I really think we've got to a point where people aren't willing to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also not willing to put in the certain kinds of work that are required to make good games. Don't mean in the coding. I mean like things like the story, character development.
Yeah.
Really fleshing it out. Really having some people come in and just tear your story and your character apart. And go, well, why did they even go here at this point? And you go, oh, that's a good point. Why did they go there?
Yeah.
We'll have to make that work or just take it out, right? Like really tearing stuff apart and making it work, which is why Red Dead Redemption 2 works. It's why God of War works. It's why The Last of Us works. It's why these real stories work.
Yeah.
And so why risk it?
Yeah.
Why risk it when you have access to these games that people will for some reason continue to buy?
It's true. Okay, one thing I wanted to mention as well, I moved on from the GTA stuff, but I wanted to bring this up. Take-Two disclosed the sales numbers, the biggest selling franchises that they own.
Yeah.
Now, they own a couple of really well-known franchises. BioShock, for example,
yeah.
$37 million they've made out of that.
Good.
Sorry, million
Copies.
What's it? Copies,
Yeah, I was going
right.
to say $37 million sounds really low.
Yeah, it's
really
copies.
low for
My
BioShock.
apologies.
Yeah.
Civilization, 57 million.
Yeah. Civ's well regarded, yeah.
Red Dead Redemption, the first one, 60 million, and Red Dead Redemption 2, 37 million. So it's still quite soft, actually.
I'm surprised 2 only sold that many.
I'm surprised as
Yeah.
well. Borderlands.
Well, can you still maybe that's what was the difference between Red Dead 1 and 2?
So
time
it was
gap.
60 million total for... 60 million total for... I said that a little bit oddly.
Right.
Total for Red Dead Redemption is 60 million. Of that 60 million, it's 37 million is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Got it.
There you go. So it sounds a bit
Okay.
more like it's more updated.
Yeah.
Borderlands as a franchise, 70 million. NBA 2K, 111 million.
Yep.
Do you want to take a stab based on those numbers, what GTA sold and what GTA 5 sold out of GTA?
Oh, GTA 5 sold, I'm going to say it takes 70% of all GTA titles sold. And I'm going to say that number is for GTA or for total GTAs?
Total GTAs and then GTA 5 if you want to take a stab.
I'm going to say they sold, total GTAs is like 180 million and 130 million.
You were close on
GTA.
one of the numbers, but not the other one. So for the total GTAs, 345 million copies sold. And GTA 5 just by itself, 145 of that.
Christ. I was close
and that's
on that,
42% of all of the GTAs ever made are GTA 5s.
140 million copies.
Yep.
And the worst thing is, many of those have been purchased by the same people. I personally know people that are on their third or fourth copy.
Exactly.
And they buy it new.
Why are you guys buying it again? Why? Is it one of those things where it's like, we're going for the daily shop. What do we need? We need bread. We need eggs. We need some meat.
Dad, can you pick me up a GTA 5, please? Don't you have GTA 5? Yeah, but...
Didn't you buy it last week? It's like, yeah, but, it's run out,
It's run out.
It's run out. It's gone bad. It's expired.
It's like milk.
We'll buy another one, That's how it goes right there. God, this is... Anyway, congratulations to Take-Two and
yeah, well done.
You guys are bastards and you make too much money, but okay, whatever. And then they have the cheek to run ads in their NBA 2K games.
That's one of those things. That's one of those things. So okay, the ads. I think they're missing a trick here with the ads. I honestly do.
Yeah.
They put the ads in as like a little cash grab.
Yeah.
And they say that it's in real games there's ads. In real games, there's incredible ads. Like the Super Bowl ads are worth your time. People tune into Super Bowl just for the ads.
Yes.
That's not a joke. People tune into the Super Bowl just for the ads. The Super Bowl ads get played more than Super Bowl highlights.
Yeah.
What they should do is pitch ad space, live updating ad space in game. But you have to go like Super Bowl quality of ad and ideally like fun or cool.
Yeah.
Like can't just be, oh, hey, eat at KFC. Or maybe you could, but it's got to be like more like the KFC Twitter handle. That guy.
He
picks
cool.
the ad. Right. That's the way they should do it. And then it seems like it's updated. And then it can also be relevant.
Yeah.
So it's not like a 5-year-old ad for Yeezys.
Yeah.
Right. It's a current day ad for like, do you remember the old Apple, the first iPod ad? Where it was like the squeaky noises with the boots, but it was in black and white, and there was that guy playing basketball. That, but it's for whatever's current. Then at least your game feels alive.
Yeah.
Instead, they just roll ads. They just roll ads and make you wait a minute before the game plays. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. If they do that, then there either has to be a monumental increase in whatever's in the game, like content or some next groundbreaking technology. Or the price of the game needs to be cheaper as well, because I'm not standing through ads.
What if you add an option that says whatever points you get in game to spend, you get 10 or 15% XP boost, but ads go on, but we commit that your ads are never longer than 30 seconds, right?
Ooh, it's a dicey one.
Now you don't need to do your microtransactions. You get 15% more in-game basketball points or whatever.
I like your thinking.
And the ad's never longer than 30 seconds. We commit that the ad will never be longer than 30 seconds and it will only go like at these slots, and you get this stuff and you can spend in-game.
I admire your thinking, but there is so much naivety here. Because
they'll never do it. That's the way I would picture it.
Because then they will gear the game to be so little in terms of whatever in-game currency comes out of it to try and get you to turn those ads on so they can make money off of it. That's how they will do it. I can see it now, and that's the way that they will go with it. I say just leave the ads out of it. We just make games. It's been doing okay for everyone else. Just make good games. That's what you should do.
But what you're not considering, and this is a real point, I really want people to consider this. Fuck sports gamers. FIFA fans, NBA 2K players, fuck them.
I take back everything I said.
Fuck them. These are the guys that go out every year and get the new football bats.
Yep.
And they get the home and the away kits.
Yes, that's right.
They're going to spend 70 quid on a £2 t-shirt from Primark that just has the right branding on it.
Right.
But then next year they have to spend another 70 because the away kit changed. Why do you think the away kit changes? Why do you think the away kit changes?
It's
not for the players. It's for your money.
Yep.
And that money could be better spent By going to the $69 tier on patreon.com/conversations.
Hey, there's the suite of conversations.
But seriously, frick 'em.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, I agree with all of that. They're the ones that keep buying the same game over and over again.
Yep.
So they deserve to be taken advantage of.
I actually genuinely agree.
Go ahead. A few little things I want to bring up, and then we'll get on to the big topic of Ubisoft and whatnot. A big merger happened with Warner Bros. And Discover Media, which is going to affect video games that come from like Warner Bros. So like DC games, stuff like that that's going on. Apparently, it's a $43 billion deal, which is massive.
That's huge.
It's also really, really good for us. So you know how there was no hope of the Snyder Cut happening or the Snyderverse? With new management moving in, they might go, why are you sitting on this gold mine? Why are you not doing anything? Right. This may happen. You never know, but we'll see. But apparently it's going to be, they're going to be splitting up all of the games companies, putting them into one area where they're going to be producing great games. And also, a good thing for me, maybe we'll finally get a Superman game. Maybe we'll finally get something like that.
Just to be clear, so what you're saying is that all the games that currently work under Warner Bros.
Yes.
That they will be kept separate but moved under a whole new umbrella.
Yes.
Like Microsoft has the Xbox division, Sony has the PlayStation division. It's going to be Warner Bros. Gaming division.
Yes.
Which will still be all its own different separate dev houses, but under the umbrella of that separate from Warner Bros. Entertainment.
Exactly.
Or not separate from, but its own separate.
Yeah, right now it's pretty much like the toxic people working at the top of Warner Bros. So the people that get to dictate everything, and then we never get anything good. We're just getting these one. Every now and again, we might get an Arkham game, and then everything else is just awful. Now they've moved over, and it's going to be a premier studio just making games over there, and premier umbrella with a bunch of studios making great.
Then
games.
we can finally get the thing that everybody's been calling for, which is a Mr. Freeze game voiced by Arnie. It's time to winterize your pipes. A freeze is coming.
That's happening right there. So I'm just pull up my notes. With the release of Days Gone, PlayStation have unveiled their PlayStation Steam page.
Okay.
The interesting thing about this is that it lists 41 games, but doesn't show 41 games.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because some of that does include DLC.
Right.
But the only game they have on there is Days Gone, and Days Gone doesn't have any DLC. So what are the other 41 pieces of content that they've got there?
That's interesting.
Does that mean that more games are coming to Steam? Does it mean that more things are coming to PC? And what games could they possibly
I will
be?
say it does feel about time for Sony to put a foot wrong.
Yes.
because they haven't in 8 years.
Yeah.
At least. And put some titles that really they should keep on PC, because most PC gamers don't want to switch to console.
Yeah.
You know, generally speaking, they've bought in. I mean, look, you're not even a PC gamer, and you bought into PC gaming.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
I made the terrible decision of getting a PC.
But immediately, what happened? You had to upgrade the power unit. You had to
this and that. The drivers I had to install, and then I had to click the left mouse button. Right. It was awful. It was just terrible.
But so, I don't think they convert many PC gamers. Especially now when it would paint a picture and start a precedence of everything eventually comes to PC anyway.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's
already how they feel, by the way.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
Exactly. It's not that we've had Horizon Zero Dawn's come, and now Days Gone. Is that the only two games?
It's the only two that I can remember.
Two I can think of as well.
It's only two that I can think of.
Well, all PlayStation games are coming to PC anyway, and it's like that's not. How
also, I know you're a big fan of Days Gone, and you also really like Horizon, but those aren't the heavy hitters. They're good games.
Yeah, they're
good games.
When you go PlayStation,
nah.
Days Gone, no.
You know, and as long as they stick to the real big hitters staying on PlayStation, which I think they should, cool, whatever, man. Like let the PC plebs play a 15-year-old Then play the very first Ratchet and Clank.
And that's another thing as well. They come out so long afterwards where they become not
even
irrelevant.
Horizon's 4 years old.
Exactly. I'm okay with you guys playing games after they've hit their heyday.
Some games that are 4 years.
Exactly.
You know,
2 years after you get Days Gone, cool. Doesn't take anything out of my purchase of buying a PlayStation.
But I hope you never get God of War. I hope you never get The Last of Us.
That's one game that I think they should keep, and I'm always on the fence. One day I'm like, oh, they could bring it. No, they can't.
When God of War gets haptic,
there
will be no appropriate way to play it other than on a DS5.
That'll be something.
You will not be able to play God of War without haptic. You can play it. You could run the game on a PC, but you're not playing the game. You're watching it. You're clicking some buttons. You need to play it with haptic, which again is why I'm not playing God of War 4 with the PS5 update, not until it gets the DualSense 5.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the game needs to be experienced, you know?
Yeah, I'm on that boat with you as well.
But at that point, like imagine in 2027, they're like, oh, God of War 2 Ragnarok is coming to PC, and you're like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's really not.
You can watch it on PC and click some buttons, but you're not playing that game. No. You're not experiencing. You're not in it without the DS5.
No.
I'm always going to call it the DS5. Forever.
Let's talk about our final topic.
All right, so
which is a big one, guys.
Yep, okay.
So, recently, a report came out about Ubisoft from a gamesindustry.biz article saying, and I'll read the title for you just here. It says, illegal proceedings are kickstarted and internal sources point to the lack of accountability since reports of toxic culture emerged at Ubisoft last year. Quick rundown of the situation. Last year, Ubisoft got accused by many of their staff members that there was a toxic work culture going on within the company. It ranged from loads of things where people were just being general assholes. All the way to sexual harassment
workplace
stuff.
Bullying.
Yeah, workplace
which is
bullying.
No good.
A shitty work environment, places where people didn't feel valued, all the way up to sexual harassment claims and stuff like that. Some of those people were for community-facing people like Ashraf Ishmael, who got fired from his position. And some of them were executives, all the way at the top, including people like the right-hand man of Yves Guillemot, who is still currently to this day the CEO of Ubisoft. Since then, they haven't mentioned... Oops, my phone dropped there. Don't worry about that. Since then, they haven't mentioned anything that they're going to be doing.
Because they're going to be doing nothing, bro.
That's what this seems to be. They said that they were going to be doing internal investigations and taking the appropriate action for whatever's been going on. The only direct acknowledgement that we've had of this was before one of the Ubisoft Forward events that were... pretty much a week after these allegations came out, Yves Guillemot took to Twitter to say that they won't be mentioning anything in the Ubisoft Forward event that's coming up because we're going to be focusing on it internally and we basically just don't want to take any responsibility for it.
In fairness, they did put a custom tattoo design in Valhalla.
They did.
In support of Whammons, who they respect.
They do exactly respect, and that's exactly what that is.
That definitely wasn't a tattoo design that they already had worked up.
No.
And then just decided we'll use that one for this. It has everything relating to women. Oh no, it's just a tattoo that's in the game. There you go. It's just in there.
Exactly.
It's there.
I'm going to read a little bit from this gamesindustry.biz article, if that's okay. So it goes, since the wave of accusations targeting Ubisoft's toxic culture, which also pointed at serious dysfunctions in its HR department, the company has attempted to make changes, but the impact of these changes seem to be minimal so far, the publication reports.
Yep.
Director of HR, I'm not going to try and pronounce her name, Cecile Cornets, I think her name is like that, who has stepped down following the Ubisoft applications in July, has only just left the company.
At least they left.
A year later, right? That takes a long time, but at least they have left and what. But a year has taken for that person to leave. And they've been replaced by somebody who's been from Uber. But an elected representative of Ubisoft, their social and economic committee, said they don't expect anything to come out of these appointments that they're making in HR because most of the people that were involved in all of the HR complaints being covered up are still working in HR.
Obviously.
only the head has been removed, and then everyone else who
it's a Hydra.
Exactly.
I called it episode 1, WandaVision. It's always a Hydra.
Always Hydra right here. Goes on to carry on saying some of the men who were the heart of the harassment allegations are still in their positions, such as Florent Castellanac, is a French name I can't pronounce. He says, who is head of Ubisoft-owned Nado, who is accused by over a dozen employees for harassment. A union representative of management said that they are protecting him almost in his position. And another person, Hughes, whatever, of another department in Singapore, who stepped down in November, still works in Ubisoft. They just assigned him to another role within the company.
Yeah.
There was another bit I wanted to read here among some of the changes. There were 20 members. Oh yeah, there is a perception by the people who work in there that the management want to just leave the crisis of summer 2020 behind because it represents a risk on the company's image of durability.
Yeah.
And apparently they did half a day of training on...
Oh, well, that made the difference.
A whole half a day of training on how to be better in workplace culture and stuff like that.
That'll make all the difference, won't it?
And apparently that's it.
Yeah. That'll do.
Now, Ubisoft is a terrible goddamn company. And it appears, based on this, that they are doing absolutely nothing to change. I personally believe, and I'm sure you'll believe the same way because we haven't spoken about it, we leave it for the podcast to discuss this side thing. Yeah. But me, the four pillars, people like James, Ethan, Tyler, and George, all believe that Ubisoft should be held accountable for everything that they're doing right here. We gave them the benefit of the doubt to say that they were going to do something about it once it was highlighted. Even though it shouldn't wait for it to be highlighted in order for you to do something. And it's proof that they have done the bare minimum, enough to try and make it seem like something's happened, but nothing has actually changed in there. We believe that Ubisoft should be held accountable and that we should no longer support them in anything that they've done. At least me and the four pillars, and you can tell me if you agree with that as well. They've started, James, Tyler, Fizhy, and I've started a hashtag saying hold Ubisoft accountable. You guys can share that. You guys can go check out their videos as well. I'll link them in the description. Because what they're doing, where they're just like, we'll just do the bare minimum, brush it under the carpet, is proof that Ubisoft is a terrible company and that they shouldn't be supported and they shouldn't be in game development as they are right now. Give me your personal thoughts because I've spoken a lot right now, and then I'll talk about some other stuff afterwards.
Welcome to 2015.
Oh, yes. We've gone back in time.
Before we knew how disgusting the company was internally, they were already a bad company. And unironically, I don't play AC for a good reason, and that's because I do personally know the AC community guys who have complained that since about AC2, they haven't made a good game. So you're talking 10 plus years across, 7 titles in total?
Yeah, something
Is
like
that right? Of just continually degrading product. That alone should have been enough for people to say, this company doesn't care, this company is no good. Like, why will people do it for Bethesda, for BioWare, but no one's willing to say it for Ubisoft?
Right, that's a good point.
That's before we know all this disgusting stuff.
Yeah.
My concern is now that it's too far past the post, which is that most people, if you bought Valhalla and didn't immediately return it, it's not that you're part of the problem, but obviously you're scum and you should... No, I'm joking. Look, if you bought Valhalla and didn't immediately return it, but felt underserved by the game, that is exactly the sort of thing that goes on inside the company as well.
Yeah.
Which is that people just get used to things. You just get used to the fact that that you love AC games for a good reason, but they haven't been what you loved for a while. But you love AC games, you play AC games. And that's what happens inside workplaces. Like, oh yeah, I want to be a games dev. Oh, I made it to Ubisoft. They make some really good games, AAA titles. And then, but it's a bit of a rough culture and it's a bit of a hard work environment, but it's game dev at the cutting edge stuff. Like, what did you expect? And then this stuff just goes unnoticed, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it managed to go. And I don't think you're going to see anything happen until Eves is gone. Because if you think...
That's the crux of the issue right
whether or not he was like involved, if you think he didn't know, let's say he doesn't know, still part of the problem. Because the fact is that kind of culture was allowed to go on under his nose. People felt secure enough in doing it, and there was a culture that grew up underneath him whereby these people were allowed to be protected.
He was either complicit, he knew about what was going on and let it go on and protected people, or he was completely negligent and this whole thing went under his nose with his right-hand man right there as well involved in it.
I actually think the second one's worse. Because I can at least understand a villain. Exactly.
You're evil and you're trying to make money. Yeah. You're a company. You're a suit. We get that. But you should still step down. The second one, however, you're so completely...
just blind.
Blind to what's going on right under your nose.
Right.
Way worse.
Yeah. So the only way for this to happen is... and look, if you bought the game, if you bought Valhalla and liked it, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I really want people to enjoy good games. But as a company, I would now, let's say you loved Valhalla and you expect that the next title they bring out is you're going to love as well. Buy it secondhand. Other people are going to buy it. Other people don't care. Just do your best to make sure your money never goes to Ubisoft. That's the only way you can really do it. I don't think they care what goes out on Twitter. Like if you think that that this now is going to be enough of a shitstorm for that, they don't care. They don't care. They didn't care about Ashraf. They didn't care when it came out. The fact that they did nothing for the Ubisoft Forward, the fact that Eves could have come out and said there's been a lot going on and it's not appropriate and we're doing our best to counter it. And I needed to take this moment while I had all of your attention to say we know and we're correcting it. And it's whoever was involved, it's going to be brutal. We're coming after you. But now let's do something a bit more lighthearted. Let's get to our product.
That's all it would have taken.
You're here for. That's all it would have taken, but they didn't. They ignored it. The only way you can do this, make any impact at all, is to make sure your money never sees their hands. Even if you do buy an AC game, buy it secondhand. I would prefer you go to the scalping CEX companies out there, right? That buy consoles and try and scalp that way.
Yeah.
Do not let your money touch the hands of Ubisoft. Do not buy DLC, do not buy microtransactions, and do not buy firsthand their new titles. The game's still going to... if the game's good, which I don't think, but if the game is good, it's still going to be good 2 weeks later when someone sells it to get their money back.
Yeah.
Right? And pre-owned is fine. Like, I've got a bunch of pre-owned games. They're fine.
And that way you have a clear conscience as well, knowing that you didn't support people like this that are not doing anything because they did. Honestly, the reason why they're not doing it is because they don't feel like they did anything that wrong.
Yes.
As long as all they see is that, what was the end result? The money? Okay, that's cool. It's fine. I don't care. So you will have a clear conscience knowing that you didn't support those people.
If it was convenient, I would recommend you pirate the games, but pirating games is actually really difficult.
Yeah, and then you have to worry about patches and stuff like that. So it's a bit thing like that. But I mean, in this case, if you feel like you want to take on that responsibility, go ahead and do that.
I mean, I'll say this. Sometimes movies or anime or whatever come out and you can't get the official release. So the only way to get it is to sail the seven seas. But after the fact, knowing you enjoy something, you go out and like I'll often buy like the manga, which is a much better way of supporting the creator.
Yeah.
They get a much bigger share of manga sales than say like from Crunchyroll or something watching stuff.
Yeah.
If you know the way that companies that you like and don't like make their best revenue,
use that
to support them and use it to hurt them.
Yeah.
But they don't care that you're going to make like a hashtag frick Ubisoft, or I assume there's hashtags. I don't know. There's
one hashtag that James has come up with, and it will at least spread the awareness of what's going on and that the fact that we gamers have had enough, so we can try and get people to... The hashtag is to get more people to understand what's going on.
The hashtag's for us.
So we can then tell people to not spend more money. Exactly. Otherwise, there's no way to like spread that sort of widespread message.
The hashtag is for us, is for the gamers, the consumers. Ubisoft are going to see it and they don't care.
They don't care.
They put it this way. They didn't care about sexual harassment in their company. They do not care about what we, the audience, think on Twitter.
No.
Right? They don't care. They don't care about people.
They're only going to care what that hashtag is going to do when it reaches all of us, the people.
They care about the money.
When we don't spend the money at the end of the day.
They care about the money. And unfortunately, there's no way of like making them know the reason you didn't buy the product.
Yeah.
But if enough people don't buy the product, they will know.
Then they'll be like, well, let's think about this. Why didn't it? Let's ask someone a question. I did say one thing on Twitter, and I want to say this because maybe one person will listen to this afterwards if you're one of these people. And I feel like you need to listen to this. You need to have this message said to you. I'm not saying this with hatred. I don't hate you, but you guys need to know that you were part of the problem with this. So people that bought the game, fine. You were under the impression that they were going to change. Fine. You can't take back your purchase now because it's done. It's done and dusted. Leave that in the past. But there were people out there who were actively supporting Ubisoft after these allegations came out without any evidence of them ever doing anything after that. And you guys are part of the problem. I'll read out what I wrote on Twitter so it's like no confusion whatsoever. I said...
Make sure you include all the typos,
All the typos, because I'm sure there is some in there. I said... For a moment, I did feel bad for those people who continue to support Ubisoft, all while Ubisoft should have been putting things in place to change the toxic work practices they are being accused of. But I don't feel bad for you. It's your actions that caused this because you supported them, right? It says, to them, it looks like you guys have agreed to forget and forgive everything they've done, all because you're excited about the next microtransaction-filled ripoff of a game they put out. You guys are enabling it, pure and simple, and it's just so we're clear. And I also put down, I'm talking specifically to those people who ignored all of the issues and are praising them, not to those who wish they could be better for the sake of their favorite franchise, like for the people who bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla who wanted that way. You guys know who you are. And I also put down, and I didn't want to, again, I didn't mean this with like malice or anything like that. I put down that tattoo of the Assassin's Creed Sisterhood because I know the intent behind that hashtag and that tattoo. You guys wanted it to mean us women are represented in this game, in the gaming community, who are fans of Assassin's Creed.
As devs, as players, as the audience.
I know that's what you guys meant.
That's not what it meant to them.
To them, they saw it as an opportunity to get in and to show that they are better than what they've been doing inside. And they exploited you. And you guys...
It was a lollipop. It was sharp, stop crying.
Exactly. And as a person who liked the movement, I saw through the bullshit, as you guys should have seen as well. But you took the opportunity to get your limelight and you sold it for this, for the suffering of other people. You guys enabled what happened in Ubisoft. I'm only saying this so you guys get the harsh reality of what happened. Don't be like this in the future. Realize that companies don't care about you. They don't care about whatever hashtag you make on Twitter.
We're waiting for Sony to do this as well. We mean it. All companies. All companies.
They don't care at all.
All of them.
Always hold their feet to the fire until you see the change. When you see the change, then praise them for it. When they do something, then praise them for it. You guys gave up because they gave you a fucking tattoo.
A little graphic in a game that didn't respect your time. But this is the thing. I'll take weirdly, I'm going to take a gentler stance.
Go on.
Which
sorry I went too harsh, but go ahead.
I'm all for savagery, bro. I'm all for, but I think this is an easy win for us. The content sucks and it's priced too high. None of those armor kits are worth it.
No.
You see what they do to bring in, they make XP so much harder to gain than give you an option to buy it, right? This is an easy out. Just don't buy it. It isn't worth it. There really is not much in that game that's worth it. Compare it to other games. Compare it to other games that people always talk about. I mean, look, you just played Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Seriously, how much better is it? You've played probably about the same amount of Valhalla as you have Mass Effect now, right? About that.
About that, yeah.
What do you think?
Night and day. And as well, knowing that Mass Effect didn't have any microtransactions coming out. Granted, it was a different time where microtransactions weren't a thing. DLC separate, that's additive to it. But the amount of story, the amount of writing and world building that's gone into Mass Effect in comparison to just volume of content that they've given in Valhalla, which isn't even coherent. It's just they've thrown lots into it. They've thrown lots of stuff into it.
Valhalla feels like it doesn't respect your time, but Mass Effect does.
It's not good. It's not quality. It's just shit.
It's an easy out. They aren't bringing you anything that's really... Look, if you love the game and you love the DLC, like I'm happy for that you didn't have your time wasted. But for the majority of people, they don't respect you or your time, and that is obvious just within the product, right? Just stop buying it. Just stop buying it because it alone isn't good enough. It isn't good enough. And like we've said, look, if you really do need it, get it secondhand. Cool, do that. But if you're doing that, maybe branch out a bit. I feel like a lot of AC guys really play just, for the most part, AC. They're heavy on the AC. Experience some of the other titles that are out there that are well regarded. Because I'm telling you, there are some gems that you are missing. You have not played Mass Effect. You wouldn't have played it until the remaster came out. But the fact that it exists, the only real difference is graphical, realistically, and how quickly it runs. But you would never have known.
Yeah.
Right?
There's probably games that you guys would never have known.
There are a bunch of games like that. And not only PlayStation exclusive. Like Mass Effect was not a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
Where there are a bunch of third-party games that are out there that are absolutely worth your time, that will scratch that itch as well.
Yeah, get into BioShock, get into The Witcher, get into all these other games. There's so many things out there.
There really are.
And crucially,
you're not going to be... stories. Like one of the things that I feel most hurt about knowing so many of the AC community and liking so many of you, obviously none of the Four Pillars, they all suck.
Yeah.
And nobody that's part of the Four Pillars community.
And the guild, the Mentors Guild,
right.
Yes, all that, but they all suck, yeah.
None of them, but everybody else. One of the things that hurts the most, because I love a good story, is knowing that all of you have like little headcanons and fan fictions and stuff of how it should go, what you would like to see done next. And at every single turn, they underperform in the story. Yeah. They underperform for the characters, and they underperform going forward every single time with this incredible stuff backing it up. Incredible stuff. Like you think on the Four Pillars podcast, they spoke about like what they would do. James spoke about his ideal like a Xiaojun game.
Yeah.
With so much passion, it sounded like an incredible story, an incredible character. Where is that? Where is that? It isn't there. So at every turn, there's just another tick for why you shouldn't be giving them your money. And I think it's an easy win for you. Stop giving them your money. Look, until they change, and they might well change. And then this will be a black mark on the name of Ubisoft, but it'll be a different Ubisoft, and they'll overcome it.
Yeah.
They won't change, but you know what I'm saying.
At the very least as well, if you do not buy their games and they are forced to change, then at least you can hold your head up higher to say that you were part of the reason why your favorite franchise was revived or became better, or you helped make the gaming community better because you didn't directly fund toxic people like this.
Yeah, imagine there's a world where...
Imagine
there's a world where the next DLC or the next whatever bombs.
Yeah.
And they take note and say, okay, well, like I'm hoping Microsoft have done with their report on The Last of Us 2 and these new titles, do they go back and they look at the numbers and they say, look, of like completion rates way higher for these early games. Well, what did we have? Well, what was the recipe? Let's go back to that. Let's forget, look, we've been trying to emulate The Witcher 3 for 6 games now, however many it is. We haven't nailed it. Even CDPR couldn't nail it. Let's go back to what we do.
Yeah.
Let's cap off Enzo Al Dente's story, right? Let's make a Chow Mein title. Look, do Xiaojun where there's no male version.
Yeah.
It's just Xiaojun. And she goes to wherever the frick she goes. She sounds Chinese. I assume China.
I think it's like China or Japan or something. I don't know too much about the system.
Also,
about the thing, so.
By the way, ancient China, an incredible place to set an AC game. Like that is the setting. The only other one would be, let's say, Japan, but that's already been done and better than you've done.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Right, Ghost of Tsushima did it better. And they're probably going to do a mainland Japan one next. You don't want to go head to head with that. Do Xiaojun, do ancient China, make an actual strong female lead that's strong, not because she's female, but she's strong and she happens to be female. Yeah. No one cares what's between their legs. No one cares.
It'll be true to that character and you'll be able to set yourself apart from other people because you've made something great.
But again, at every tenure they say, oh, women don't sell. But the female Ivar is our canon lead. Well, which is it?
It's our canon, but we're only going to mention that to the people who are really asking the question. We don't want people to know.
Right.
It's not. No. It's not on our front of our box. No. We won't put it on the front of our box because that doesn't say we won't.
But again,
it's the male one. That's
again
whatever sells. Gets.
The female Ivar is our canon lead. Is a lollipop. It's a here, shut up, stop crying, and it was to both. It was to two people. It was to the people that were upset, like gamers that know that women don't sell as bullshit. Yeah, that's on its face bullshit. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
that's a recent one. Forget Lara Croft. Forget Samus Aran. Forget all these female characters. But it was also to like sort of like virtue signal. Oh, look, we care about the women. We're, you know, despite the atrocities going on within the company in real life. Yeah. And at every point, never actually doing it because, and this was your next telling sign, dialogue doesn't change. Romance options don't change. No. Mass Effect, you can't romance Garrus, who's a great romance, by the way, but you're a male.
Because that plays male shepherd.
Garrus is straight because that's his character.
Meaningful way.
There you go.
Done back then.
There you go. Right. Why none of the dialogue changes if you're male or female. None of the romance options change if you're male or female. Nothing changes if you're male and female, to the point where they phone in the dialogue so that it's grey. It never has any passion to it because it has to always fit.
It has to fit both, and it has to fit everything. Guys, the main takeaway from this: don't support any Ubisoft titles from here on out if you really want to make a difference. If you want to make a difference in gaming, it will be a massive win for us gamers, for us to, for once, because we don't get these many opportunities to do this kind of stuff, but it would be great if we could use our collective power to actually change, to make something positive in terms of something we're not going to get at the end of the day. This doesn't result in our game being made. It results in people who are working in the gaming industry, part of us, part of the people who make our games, will be able to live and work in a safe environment, in a good environment, and then hopefully they can produce even better games that will come down the line. Hopefully we can be a part of that. Hopefully we can make something like that. James and the guys are sharing the hashtag Hold Ubisoft Accountable. I urge you guys to do the same. Go check out their videos. Links will be in the description. And that'll be hopefully good, something we can do.
I think the main takeaway here is this is actually a positive message, which is we have a say, and it comes in the form of our currencies. Don't support things that you don't agree with, and do support things that you do agree with, like the Justice League and the Snyder Cut. We're big fans of that, so we're buying the steel case, we're buying the stuff, and we're watching it on paid services to get the numbers up because it's stuff that helps support it and show that this is where our money and our attention is. And in the same way, we're not buying things. You can't do it for everything. Look, maybe you hate a giant corporation, but they're the only corporation that sells food in your town. Then you're going to have to, you know. I appreciate that, but if you have the opportunity, do your best to vote with your money, and you can. So support the things that come from companies that you appreciate. Support the things that do what you appreciate, and don't support those that don't take you seriously.
Agreed.
Whether it's gaming, movies, whatever. And it's actually a positive message because you can hopefully change stuff, or at least go to sleep knowing that you didn't fund and I'm going to say it, Yves Guillemot and his campaign of terror.
He needs to get the hell out, brother. Apparently as well, he hired one person who got fired. So he hired one person to replace the person who got fired, and it was his cousin.
That's not nepotism at all, right?
That's great right there. Let's kick it over to some of our guys who wrote into our Discord server. Actually, wait, first of all, let me just check our Patreon. I believe someone did write in. Oh, yes. No, sorry. Let's do the Discord ones. That's a different topic. Super Whale Ben wrote in, and he said, as someone who's followed Ubisoft for years and fell in love with their games at a very young age, I feel betrayed. What they've done is simply not enough, and I refuse to give them a single penny until they have given justice to all the internal issues that have happened. Hashtag Yves out. Hashtag fire Yves. Very good message right there, and I'm glad that you've listened to what we just said, and you've taken it on board, and you've decided not to spend money on them because of what we said. Definitely because of what we said right there. Do you want to read the next one? Have you got the next one up there?
Yeah, well, I wanted to read, actually, skip. Did you see a comment you're going to get read next? But Super Dan says something, and this is something that I worry about specifically with a few communities. The AC is one of those, which is, he says, the W will be, or the dub will be, when all the people who complain about Ubisoft buy the next AC game, even though they know it will be shit. And he's right. And
that is a big point.
Something that the Ubisoft community shares with like the FIFA guys and the NBA 2K games. They just always buy the next one. They just always buy the next one, regardless of how much is updated or changed, or okay, you know, they changed some of those pentagrams, or this guy's on the other team now. Like, they're gonna make another game. It's gonna suck. It's not gonna have much story. That's not gonna respect your time. And people that complain are going to buy it, and they'll say, like, oh, I'm just buying it to see if they changed. Wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks.
I hope that the gamers like us, the people who listen to the True Gamer podcast, the people who are in the gaming scene all the time, I hope they're the ones that do take the message on board and are proper about it and be like, you know what, we're not going to buy this game, we're not going to do that, or wait 2 weeks, like you said, and buy it second hand. And I hope it's just the people who are like not tuned into anything and don't know anything about Ubisoft that are funding the whole Ubisoft mess over there, because it will show, because we are a large portion of the of the people.
Informed gamers are a large
Exactly.
group,
So hopefully that will show. Anti-Juice writes, sorry, did you want to say anything else?
Well, yeah, actually, just on that note of like waiting a little bit, this isn't like a vast multiplayer game like in general. People don't get AC games for the online features.
No.
So waiting 2 weeks or for a sale not only saves you money, but you don't lose really anything. The story doesn't change markedly. In fact, you only get a better experience because bugs get fixed.
And the same trick that they've been doing for the last couple of AC games, where they update a patch which changes the game to make it more difficult so you can buy microtransactions. You'll see that before you buy it. So you might go, well, fuck, I don't want to buy this game if they've done that stupid nonsense. I'll fuck, get out of here.
Right. But like the story is the same.
Yeah.
You don't miss out a lot, you know, and it's not like you're hopping on with your mates to play the new Call of Duty, right, every night. That is an experience you generally get.
Yeah.
So you're incentivized to at least wait and see how it performs, and is the story any good, and pick it up for cheap.
Yeah.
Like why not? I get that you want it.
Yeah.
But knowing that you're specifically funding this horrible stuff, like wait 2 weeks and get it from someone that was disappointed, play it, realize that they were disappointed for a reason, and make sure your money never touches Ubisoft hands.
Yeah, that's it. Anti-Juice writes in, he says, I'm not surprised about the Ubisoft news, and it shows that everyone needs to make more noise and stop buying their boring, low-effort garbage games for something to change. Hashtag Fire Eves. And that's basically what we laid out here. Don't spend money on them until they decide to do something about what's going on. It might as well. It probably won't, because it's still Ubisoft, and maybe they need more change than that. But it might result in better games as well. They might, instead of just churning out the same bullshit that's just filled with content that doesn't mean anything, that's just garbage, they might produce a good game. They might actually go, do you know what? Our next game has to be good in order to sell, because people don't want to buy our games because of our image.
Right.
We might have to wait for someone to buy it and review it and say it's good.
I don't want to be Mr. Negative, but generally speaking, people that make bad decisions tend to double down on bad decisions when things go bad. So what will likely happen is, well, the spiral. It'll get even worse. They'll make much worse games. They'll try to copy The Witcher or Cyberpunk or something. It'll get worse.
Cyberpunk did great. Let's do that.
But I think that could be a blessing in disguise, which is if they make even worse games, that will give two things. A power vacuum where someone can step in and make a game that fits, and also maybe free the AC guys from their curse of only being able to buy Ubisoft games, to finally realize that there really is good stuff out there that they're not paying attention to.
Right.
You know, good franchises or new titles, right?
Yeah.
That, let's say a bunch of these guys are on PlayStation. Well, they play Uncharted instead. Oh wow, this is a game that takes me seriously, that doesn't waste my time, and it's a great story, or whatever. I think it needs it sounds so bad, but I feel like these guys need to really get hurt by the game the way like Cyberpunk hurt us.
Yeah.
To look at the company without the rose tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit it, up until Cyberpunk, that's how I viewed CDPR. I was really bought in. But also I don't want anyone to have bad games. And even worse, I don't want people to have bad games made by bad companies that can't seem to lose money. Right? Yeah. There's no good reason to be spending... You're spending your time twice. You have to spend your time to make that money, which sucks. Working sucks. They literally have to pay you to be there. That's why.
Exactly.
Right?
That's work for you.
And then you're going to spend, 40 to 60 hours finishing a game that by the end you feel meh.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you wasted 40 to 60 hours, like parents back in when we were kids say gaming's a waste of time. No, it's not. It's the pinnacle of entertainment when you're playing the right titles.
Exactly.
Right? Like, this is it. You're going to get the Joss Whedon Justice League.
That's what you're going to get right there. That's
find the real Snyder Cut titles. Find the titles that are out there that really respect your time and from companies that don't have sex pests in them.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. And there were a couple of smaller comments. I'm just going to breeze through these. Isak says, Ubisoft, what a surprise. Lazy, irresponsible company with lazy, irresponsible... was lazy and irresponsible. Honestly, I've lost all hope for Ubisoft. And Vanda says, and for the Ubisoft thing, it was obvious that they weren't going to do anything. I mean, they basically said, we're handling it, and then never mentioned it again. That's
anytime stuff goes to internal review, you know, internal review is just a way for them to say, we're going to try and deal with it so there's no future blowback.
Yeah.
Right? So that we can get anybody out that's going to cause us trouble down the road, and then come out with a really well-crafted PR statement to say how good we are. And that we did nothing wrong. When have you ever seen an internal review come out and say, yeah, there has been serious wrongdoing here and we are nipping it in the bud. We're pulling it out by the roots. Never once.
Nope.
Because that's not what they do.
There you go. That's all the comments that we got right there. We did have 2 more comments I want to breeze through. Yeah. Super well, Benny goes, so what are your upcoming thoughts on the game Biomutant? Do you remember we saw this Biomutant trailer?
It's out now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He said outcoming, but I think it's out already.
It's out now, yeah.
It looks freaking awesome. He goes, I literally knew nothing about it until today. However, I saw this trailer and I'm incredibly interested. It looks like an amazing mix of Breath of the Wild, Ratchet and Clank. I think we said that as well.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that, yeah.
And so much of this unique style, it has definitely piqued my interest. I'm planning on picking it up at some point. What's your stand? The worst part is that the last month has been chock full with great games.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough time. I bought Outriders. I played a little bit of it, and then the next game came out.
Yeah, you really enjoyed that as well,
I did as well, and I've left it. I haven't touched it since. Returnal came out. I played a ton of that, and I still am playing it because the other game that I'm playing, Mass Effect, came out, and I'm only playing that on stream. If I wasn't the kind of person where I was playing that on stream, I'd have to play Mass Effect, I'd have to play Returnal, I'd have to play, what was the Outriders, as I mentioned.
Which of those would you find yourself reaching for? Like on a private night, the chick's gone to her parents with the baby, it's just you got like 5 solid hours, no interruption. What are you reaching for?
Honestly, I hate that I chose to pick this only for streams because I want to play more Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, I tweeted it out as well, I was like, I'm thinking of, I'm not playing Mass Effect, but I'm thinking about Mass Effect now because it's hooked me. It's got that right inside me, and it's like, come back again.
Yeah,
back.
That's funny. That's funny. Biomutant looks really interesting to me, but I'm going to play Control this weekend. Mm-hmm. Probably won't finish it this weekend, but I'm going to get a good chunk of it played.
Yeah.
And then Ratchet and Clank comes out in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks?
Is it like 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks! Freaking hell.
So that comes out.
No time at all.
After that, though, I'll be interested to pick it up, especially if it's dropped in price as well. That might incentivize me a bit more. It looks really interesting. It looks like good fun. It looks like the kind of game, I don't know how difficult it is, but it looks like the kind of game I could maybe use to get my chick into gaming because she's not really into games.
Yeah.
So, I don't know much about it. I did watch a review with the devs.
Yeah.
Where they were saying like these are some of the game mechanics, and you go through and there's all these tribes of other like mutant animal things, and you can either unite them or join one, and your decisions affect the game, and that's something that I enjoy. That's something that Mass Effect has. I don't know enough about it. It looks like fun though. It looks like a lot of fun. I would, if you do get it, Ben, let me know what you think. And I'd also like to know what you would compare it to, because it does look like Breath of the Wild, like visually, but not in the way that it seems to really play. Like Breath of the Wild, like Zelda games have not a linear story, but like you know exactly where you're going to at the end. And I don't know if that's the case with this. What happened to Ken and Bridge of Spirits? When's that out?
August is coming out.
Kind of
I'm
excited
so excited for that.
Yeah.
They've also mentioned It's going to have like lots of like DualSense support and stuff like
That's
that. The first game to come out with an actual bow and arrow, to actually use the bow and arrow analogy that they give to try and explain the triggers.
Yep. Yep.
It's funny. We're like, so pulling back the trigger is like, imagine pulling back a bow, and we're like, we haven't had a bow game yet to even try that.
Like,
we don't know what you guys are
Are
talking
you
about.
kidding me? The idea that Ken is going to come out with the bow with the Horizon game on the horizon is just mind-boggling to me. But okay.
And we got one more comment. It's from our boy Diogbro. He says, I'm really enjoying Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. The rhythm game for the noobs. I mean, you're in the... Oh, so I guess, yeah. When it comes to... He's got a fucking smiley face, and I can imagine him doing this grin. I think he's doing it because we're reading it.
For sure.
He's inside our heads. Here we go. When it comes to track... I know off by heart. So when it comes to a track, I know off by heart. The tracks can be easy and really rewarding and hitting all those notes. When it's a track I've not heard of, though, it can be quite a pain. But when I get through it, it's quite nice. And he puts the angry face. So my question is, what game did you never want to touch, but eventually did, and really enjoyed your time with it? Because I never wanted to play this leading up to the launch of it, and even after it. And it says, P.S. I bought Resident Evil 8 for £20 since I had a voucher, so I can play it. So I can play that soon. That's a really good price right there with that voucher.
That's a very good price.
Is there any game that you didn't want to touch, but then all the way leading up to its launch, but then...
I feel like there's one or two, but I cannot remember them off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think if there's... I was cautious about Outriders. It's a more recent example, because I was like, I saw the trailers and it looked so generic, and I was like, oh. But then I go into it, I was like, ooh, yeah, this is an alright game. I actually like it. I do have to say, this is irrational.
Okay.
You're not gonna like this.
Okay.
I have that feeling for Halo.
Okay.
Because I'm like, people talk about Halo so much as if it's the best fucking thing since sliced bread. Yeah. I don't want to play this goddamn game. I've got better games to play right now. Get out of here, Halo. But I'm sure when I play it, I'll be like, this is actually pretty sick. This is pretty cool. Okay. Master Chief, you cool. You're a cool guy. Cool guy.
I honestly think the biggest thing you'll have with Halo is that there's no sprint. And
until you press the X button. And then,
right. There's no sprint, and guys like me and James believe there shouldn't be a sprint ever in Halo, because it messes with the pace of the game. It just does stuff that isn't appropriate for Master Chief. Other than that, I think you will enjoy it. I think, but I do worry that not being able to sprint, just like as a concept, is going to not sit well with you, because we're used to sprinting.
Right. I do that thing instinctively where I'm like, I want to go faster. Yeah. Hit the R3 button. If nothing happens, I'm going to be like,
Right. However, it is as good, at least, as sliced bread. Right, maybe not the best thing since, but it's as good for sure. It's very different to like Mass Effect, but it's very good. It's very good. Think of it as a shooter with a story, not a shooter. Right. It's more about shooting your way to story sections rather than, shooting. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But it is really good, and oh my god, the music's so good, and there are some iconic gaming moments that you haven't experienced. Like, you haven't experienced the Warthog, fleeing on the Warthog with that music going in the background, and oh my god.
What's really funny is I've seen content made from Halo products, like Halo games, but never played a Halo game, or even watched a Halo Let's Play. I've always been like, what's the like creator mode you've got in it where you can make tracks and make things and whatnot. I've seen people play jokes things in that. And I've seen Red versus Blue, which is that over that voiceover
thing.
And I'm like, this is all great. I have no interest in playing the game. See that? It's so weird.
It's a different way of doing it, but it is good. I do appreciate that. I do understand what you're saying. For me, Destiny was one.
Oh yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Halo, because I didn't want to get into Destiny because it felt like betraying Halo. Because to me, I felt like Bungie left Halo, and then 343 picked it up, and they gave us Halo 4, which I felt was not very good. I know a lot of people think it's okay. I felt it was very poor. So I felt like they abandoned me and the Master Chief. And then I did pick up Destiny. It was good. Wasn't exactly what they sold us, so I fell off with Destiny, but that was one. And I'm trying to think. I know there's another one, but I can't think. Because you never think of games that you really weren't sure about. And
yeah. And it doesn't happen often as well, because you as a gamer, you know kind of what you're probably going to be into. Yeah. And there's not many games that are going to really like turn you around and go, do you know what, it wasn't right. You usually have a good feel. It can happen, just not often.
And it's normally the other way around, where you're really excited for a game and it comes out and it sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it's rarely a case where you're like, this game's going to be awful, and then somehow you end up with it and you love it. You know, because why would you buy a game you were sure was going to suck? I
tell you, I've been playing Pokemon Snap.
Oh yeah,
I've been playing a lot of that. Because the only game I cannot play now, so I can play off of stream, is Returnal. And when I don't feel like getting my ass handed to me in another run, or a glitch fucking me up or something like that, I pick up Pokemon Snap and I play that in front of Isla, and we're playing like that. I bet there are people out there that haven't played Pokemon Snap, and they're like, why the frick would I want to play Pokemon Snap? But then they get in it, and then they'll be like,
they just don't know.
Man, this is wholesome, good fun, right here.
I think people don't really get it that we both play Pokemon a lot, but you're a big Pokemon fan, to the point where we were on your stag do in, where was that?
Where did we? Hungary, was it?
Yeah, Budapest.
Budapest.
We were in Budapest. You were on Pokemon Go on your stag do.
Bruv, I can't catch the exotic Pokemon here in the UK. I needed to do it in Hungary.
Walking around Budapest. in Budapest, I think it was summer. It was gorgeous there. It was great. Just on Pokemon Go.
Ah, yes, got it.
Like, we love Pokemon here. We're a big Pokemon fan base. That's the thing as well. I've never, ever, tell a lie, that new Pokemon thing that's set in ancient Japan.
Oh, yeah.
That's one I'm...
Also with Legends...
I forget what it was called.
Arceus.
That's it, yeah.
Or the people were telling us it was...
Arceus, okay, get for it. That's one where I'm like, for the first time ever, I'm not sure about a Pokemon game. I'm not sure.
It's changing up the formula.
It is changing it. Changing the recipe.
Anyway, guys.
Yeah.
That's all for this episode of the True Gamer Podcast. It has gone on for very long. Yes. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. We'll see you guys next week. We might make it, depending on what goes on, we might make it a bonus episode, the predictions part, and then the actual podcast separately. So we'll see what's going on. But remember, 2 predictions from each of you guys. Write them in, and we'll talk about those after our own predictions. And we can do a nice little competition here. We'll put down another pizza bet or something like that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Bro, thank you for joining me for another episode of True Gamer Podcast. I'll catch you in the next one. Inverted, turn it over.
Don't do that.
And pull back on the stick, which means go forward.
You're controlling his head forward, back, down, up.
And then side to... Oh, wait.
No, look, because you're going to turn his head, right? So you got to...
Hold on. That doesn't really work either. You got to invert it. So you got to be like, I'm turning this way and it turns that way.
That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Or it's more like you're tilting his head that way, and you're like just doing this, innit?
There you go.